Okay, we are live, back with round two again, the other side of the bracket for the Naruto Dojo debate tournament. And we got Mortified and Calamity. Mortified's going to be taking Pain. Calamity is taking the fourth Raikage. We've already went over all of the rules and everything. Everybody's cool with stuff with all of that. So I guess the only thing left for me to say is for this one, because it's the second round, you guys are still going to get up to 2.5 minutes for your opening statements. You're going to get up to 2.5 minutes for closing statements at the end. And then each of you will get up to 30 minutes this time instead of 20 for your scaling, so being on the assertive. So do you guys have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
Perfect. Mortified, could you unmute, brother? Oh my God, why is TG streaming right now, this bastard? Unbelievable.
He's sniping.
Let's go ahead and get this pulled up on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and make an announcement in the server. Bro, TG knew I was streaming tonight too, bro. That freaking guy, dude, he's a little douche, bro. Let's go ahead and do 10 super chats of $5 or more over the course of an hour. I'll react to a video of your choosing. Mort, is Mort ready? He's still muted up.
2 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Yo, what's good, Flame? What's good, Lorenzo? Good to see you guys in here. We're just waiting 2 minutes. Yeah, TG is sabotaging the stream, bro. Straight up. Unbelievable. Nah, it's okay. Pain versus A. Everyone. Don't worry, we will be getting started. Oh, did TG just stop? Oh no, TG, I'm sorry, bro. He said forced us to join. WTG, I can't lie. What a guy. My guy TG, he knew I was streaming tonight, he just didn't know what time. I bet he saw Cameron streaming, and I was like, damn, maybe I can sneak one in before Sage goes on and does this tournament. What we need to do is get TG on here. My plan, and this is tentative, because we don't really know what schedules are going to look like on the particular day. But my plan is that we will have me, TG, and Virtue as the judges for the final round. So that is going to be fun. Whoever wins the tournament gets 2 free years of Discord Nitro. Kind of goes crazy. Speaking of which, if you guys are not, TG constantly getting W's, bro. If you guys are not in the Discord server, make sure you guys join it. I'll post a link in chat real quick. TG's just like one immaculate W after another. Okay. I tried suggesting y'all should combine streams at the end of the stream. Oh, dude. I mean, TG can always hop on. Let me see. I mean, he's just going to be listening to a debate, but I'll message him. Like, bro, if you're free and you just want to hop on and listen, you can. Yo, Mort, you about ready, brother?
Mortified. Spoke too much. He about to DQ.
Yeah, the DQ is at 15 minutes, so still got time, but we got to get this started because we do have a Nani. So kind of.
This time I have an audition.
So kind of. So Nani was 20 minutes late, so he got DQ'd on stream, but he basically said that he had like a really big issue he had to take care of. And so I was like, well, then you guys need to figure out a time in the next 2 days to get this recorded and send it in, and then I'll just judge it later. So we haven't put out an official verdict yet. Sorry, guys, we're just waiting on one of our competitors to wrap up what he's doing, and we'll be ready to go. Mort, you about ready, brother? Bro, what is Mort doing? Oh, you guys can see Llama's. You guys can see Llama's scale he was gonna do yesterday. He was gonna go Sage Naruto clone over Kurama over the Four Tails relative to Jiraiya. Yo, Flame with the 5. My guy, appreciate you, bro. Said money for the goal. Dude, you're the GOAT. I appreciate you. We got to get on another video soon. I actually have a pretty cool idea for one.
I'm ready. Let's get it.
All right, bet. Okay, cool. So let me just make sure you guys' volume is good. I'm going to turn you guys up on here. Okay, so Calamities is all the way up. Mortified needs to be all the way up. I ask that you guys please be respectful. I know things can get heated in a debate, but from there, I think we should be good. Flame, just message me on Discord. But if you guys are ready, do you guys have a preference as to who goes first?
I'd rather not.
Calamity?
Do you want to go? Want me to go? I don't mind.
Cool. Okay, so Calamity is going to go first. So I have the timer here. I will go ahead and start the 2.5 minutes as soon as you start talking, brother.
Yeah, mine's just really quick. Yeah. Am I good to go?
Yeah, so these are just opening statements, so we won't have any rebuttals or anything here. Just basically an overview of what your scaling is essentially going to be.
Sure. So I think my character is more accessible win cons. He has more win cons. More consistent win cons. I think he is higher assertive scaling, higher connective scaling. So yeah, I don't really need anything else. Got you.
Cool. Mortified. You got 2.5 minutes if you want to use it.
All right. A little tired today, but we'll manage to win with a little bit of chocolate left in the tank. If you're listening to this live, then it doesn't refer to you. But if you're listening to the video of the man, if you're hearing this, it means that Calamity has unfortunately passed away. Mortified just got way too good. I think Pain has connective scaling to the character, whereas his character just simply has no means of connecting back to my character, which is preferable for Pain. I think that he has a solid win condition. He has arguably more win conditions. I think we were just mathematically deduced his abilities versus the Raikage's. The Raikage would actually have less win conditions. And I think that he just slaps his character. So we can get started. I don't really do opening statements like that. I just decided to waste my time to be a cornball. We can start scaling now.
All right, cool. All right, so you have 30 minutes. Whenever you start, I'll start the timer. And by the way, I will, if we're looking for scans, I will give a short grace period to find scans if we need to. But I would prefer to stay on as on time as possible because we do have another debate later on tonight. But whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start, and I'll start your time.
Sure. So let me wait. Give me a second. Let me type this out. Check the VC scans. The scale I'm going to be using. I'll verbalize it since I know you prefer verbalization. The V2 Raikage is massively above the V1 Raikage. V1 Raikage is over KCM1 Naruto. KCM1 Naruto is over Stage Mode, and Stage Mode is over Pain. This is speed only.
Right, it's like 4 fucking assertions. So
yeah, of course.
Okay, are we gonna care to?
It's written out in VC chat. So just
VC scans.
It's in VC chat.
This VC chat.
Yeah.
The VC chat.
Okay, well, first let's just start from the beginning. Why V2 Raikage over V1? Okay, we could just accept that. But what's the quantifiable degree? Well, again, excuse me. Don't interrupt me again. Thank you. What's the quantifiable degree at which? I thought you do it again. Wow. Anyway, what's the quantifiable degree at which V2 is above V1?
I think it's a blitz tier. I don't think you need a numerical quantification.
Okay, can you justify that?
Sure. I'm sure you're aware, Sasuke, is able to run relative to the V1 Raikage.
I'm not aware of this.
With the lightning bolt and what's it called?
I just told you I'm not aware of this.
I know. I'm grabbing the scans. I'm just trying to see if you could jog your memory.
No.
Yeah. Check VC scan. The VC chat. So he's able to at least perceive perceive and dodge the Raikage. You fine with that?
I don't know if that's necessarily what's happening here.
What do you think's happening?
I don't think I need to tell you what I think's happening. I'm just doubting your interpretation of what's happening.
Well, he's able to perceive the attack coming towards him. He's able to dodge it, and he's able to strike the Raikage. So I think that he would need relative speed to be able to first dodge the Raikage, or at least see him coming. He's able to like perceive him.
I don't think that dodging an attack is suggestive of relative speed. If my little cousin tries to like uppercut me and then I dodge the attack, it's not going to be suggestive of me and my little cousin being relative to each other. So Sasuke could just be massively outscaled on the Raikage here. I don't think this like necessitates any sort of relativity.
That's fine. If you want to see he outscales the Raikage, I don't agree with that, but I can probably run with this for the argument. If you want to say that the Raikage could just, the Sasuke could just outscale the Raikage, we get a instance after that the Sasuke gets perception blitzed by the Raikage, by V2 Raikage right after. Ascendant VZ scans. So basically, this is the perception blitz because of Amaterasu is predicated off you look at your opponent, and wherever you look at, the Amaterasu spawns on it. So he was looking at the Raikage. The Raikage visibly is able to he's able to escape Sasuke's line of sight to dodge the Amaterasu. Well, not dodge it, he like kind of just perception blitz him.
All right, so I think we're just like begging the question of it being interpreted as a perception blitz. I just see this equally interpretable to be the case that the ability is summoned from his eye, and the Raikage was able to dodge the attack in time. Very simple. I don't see why it's necessarily or even likely to be the case that this is a perception blitz. You're just saying that, hey, you don't need to address that.
I don't think I need to address that. I'll explain why.
Would you care to justify why you hold the belief that you don't need to address something?
Yeah, I think my original response, like my original statement, just kind of refutes that. So.
Do you believe it to be the case that there's a large contradiction in this not being a perception blitz, or is that a contradiction?
I think that. I'm not going to answer this sort of stuff because you're just kind of like giving like word soup. But I already gave my argument, so.
And you're like halting the
Would you like me to
dialogue.
repeat it? Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I want you to answer my question. Is there a contradiction in this not being a perception blitz?
Answer any of your questions. If you think that you responded,
if you're not obliged to answer any of my questions,
I mean any of those.
Okay,
I mean,
that's a new one. That's a new one. I can't wait to fucking start my scale. Oh boy,
I'm not obliged
so
to
exciting.
answer any of those sort of questions, but I don't think it's relevant. So
okay, well, you're halting the dialect.
I think I already explained why with like perception thing, but I can send evidence if you want. Thank you. Care about that, so.
No, I'm asking you, is it a contradiction for this not to be a perception blitz? Because what I'm telling you is that it simply could be the case that despite it using his peripheral line of vision, okay, the speed of the attack could be what's being dodged rather than the attack itself, okay? You're assuming that it instantaneously spawns on him. You've yet to justify this. I'm currently putting it into question. Okay, so if it's to be the case that it's not instantaneously, magically spawning onto the opponent, even if it functions in a similar way in regards to the correlation of his vision, I still don't see why it's necessarily contradictory for it to be something that's physically dodgeable. So if it's to be the case that there's a activation speed of the Sharingan and a spawn time, quote unquote, of the Amaterasu, that the Raikage might not simply just be dodging these physical aspects of the attack rather than perception blitzing Sasuke. If it's to be the case that there's no contradiction in that taking place, then it's equally interpretable. Right, so then what's the probability raiser for it being a perception blitz?
Okay, and then basically, instead of like the low tier rambling, you're just asking me to justify it's instantaneous, so.
No, that's one of the things that I asked you to justify. That's not the entirety of what I asked you to justify. I asked you a question and you're halting the dialectic and dodging. I don't know why you can't just tell. Then tell me, is it okay? If you do that, I'm not going to answer any of your fucking questions, bro. I'm not going to answer a single question.
You can lose.
I can lose then? How do you think that this works? That you get to just control the debate? Like, what's wrong with you? There's judges and moderators. There's a live audience watching this, and you're acting like a child. Answer the question.
If you think that like question like defeats my entire argument, then I'll just then whenever they're.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. No. Stop trying to think for me. Could you stop trying to think for me? Thank you. Answer my question.
No, wait. If this is a relevant question. I didn't say it wasn't a
relevant question. Pause for a second. Okay, so if we're going to go back and forth like this, then we need to just agree to move on from the point. And more, if you feel like you asked him a question or you put something into question that he hasn't answered and he's willing to move on, then we just need to move on.
Okay, I guess we can move on. I definitely question why it's instantaneous
I'm
and
gonna
why
say,
it's
wait,
not equally
Sage.
interpretable to be something else. So sure, we can move on.
Okay, I'm gonna justify it first. Sage, do you have the statement that it just like spawns on the opponent?
So how does this work? You
Let
get
me
to
grab
dictate
this.
what questions you don't want to answer, and you get to dictate what the fuck we go over. How is this fair? How is this
Wait,
fair?
what if if you think that question was relevant and like my skill like puts my question into scaling, then they can just judge that and I can lose this point. It's not relevant.
Bro, who? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. I don't really care what the hell you think, Future. Like, you're just another person that doesn't want to debate me themselves.
Let's stay on track. Oh, it's Ross.
Sorry.
Like talking about some always lacking
Yeah.
substance. Yeah, but he gave the most substance-based
Dude,
argument.
you
The
know
way that he
why?
said
Why
that,
are
like, it's necessarily the case that it's a perception blitz because he's using his eyes. Good one, Future.
Okay, I don't think it needs. Okay, Zumi made a claim from necessity.
All right,
Good one.
more. Let's simmer down, brother.
Okay.
Does anybody
That
have
wasn't gonna
the Does anybody have the scan? I don't even know who's all in chat right now. Hobbs,
I can't wait to
Distraight,
see you.
Mono. Any of you guys have the scan of the Amaterasu, like spawning on the opponent? The opponent.
Hold on. So you said Amaterasu spawning on the opponent. What skin specifically?
So what he asked for is the one that says that it like instantly spawns on the opponent. That's what he identified as the scan.
I remember. I mean, Sage, you knew what I was speaking about. I mean, Sage, you knew what I was speaking about. So
I know the scan that you're talking about. I'm not gonna say that it says exactly that, but I do know the one that you're speaking about. I'm just trying to find it really quick. And I paused the
Castle
timer.
Black was Nani, of course. Your BFFs have to judge the debate. Makes sense.
what?
Makes sense.
Who?
Let me just see if I have it.
What about
Honestly,
you?
bro, I'm
Are you
tempted to let you
thinking
have it,
manga
Calamity, so I
or
could just go
TV?
debate in Future.
Bro, you think debating
Should I
future is
do
better
that?
than 2
All
free
right,
years?
if we have enough,
Two
if we have
free
enough
years
people
of
in chat
Discord
saying that I should
Nitro,
do it,
bro.
I'll just abandon this debate and let you have it. So, people on YouTube, let me know. People in Discord, let me know. Because yeah, I don't play about none of that.
Appearance of black flames, temperature like that.
Like all this propaganda, bro. Like all this propaganda. And then they have to create these massive like walls in order for me to debate them. Like you have to have my best friend forever judge the debate.
I think it's
And it
the.
has to be in the server in which I own.
Wait, Mortified. You were being amped by 2 of the 3 original judges. I don't know why you're trying to claim this.
Let's look
Okay,
at.
so just to talk about that, right? I was offered a lab session with Hobbs and Steven. Hobbs and Steven are not judging this current debate.
Yeah, because I got them both off debating.
For two, and then
They were originally
no.
judging, and I got them both off.
No, they were not originally judging.
Wait, Steven
That's an
might have come off
assumption. No. That's
but I got
so stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me. That is you and an assumption. I'm gonna say the facts. Okay.
Wait.
My kindness is the only reason that you even know that I was
That's not
in that
true.
lab.
That's
Yes,
not
it
true.
is.
That's not
I
true.
told Lewis. I'm the one that told Lewis.
I didn't get it originally.
I just had a lab with Hobbs and Steven.
I didn't get it from
He
Lewis.
relayed that information unto you.
Yeah, I didn't
So
get
my
it from Lewis.
kindness is
I
the
didn't
only
get it from
reason
Lewis.
that you know this.
Okay, all right. Hey, let's
didn't
pause
get it.
here. That
So-
I think this is the scan that you're referencing.
I still didn't get the sound from Lewis, but whatever.
It's in the VC chat.
Brain dead henchman? What makes you think that Sage is my
Yeah.
henchman, let alone brain dead? That's just like
Mortified. Let's focus.
what the heck
More,
is going
yeah,
on?
more. You
Like,
gotta
oh my
focus
gosh.
up. You gotta stop focusing on chat, brother.
Don't
Okay,
let
they
them
banned
get
him
you
from the
to you,
server.
boy.
I'm going to keep focusing on. I'm very tempted to just let him have it so I can debate Future right now.
Well,
And I'm
debate
not
debate
continuing.
him afterwards, brother. You gotta lock in.
Don't let him genju to you.
Dude, Future is.
Bro, I don't give a
I don't
fuck
even know if
about no
Mortified's better
fucking
than Future.
$200,
All right, well-
dude. That doesn't matter to me.
Brother.
My pride is worth way more than that.
Mortified versus Future would go crazy though. I don't know.
This-
Future might.
This is
Mortified
true,
could win.
but we gotta either end the debate right here or we gotta lock the fuck in. Because we're not gonna keep going back and forth like this. So are we
do you wanna do?
continuing?
I don't know what the heck happened. We're taking like 5 minutes for a scan. It's not me.
Yeah. Okay. So
we wanna-
the scan is in chat. So are we ready?
Would you like? Do you want to continue, or do you want to go debate Future?
We can
I don't mind either
continue
way.
for now. I guess, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't mind winning. You've already lost it. You need
So-
to win this way, don't you? Right.
So I'm gonna
love it.
start the timer. Mort, you gotta let him make his argument and then you can reply to it. All right, I'm starting the timer now.
Okay, am I speaking? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think like the linguistics of this. It just says you only need your sight, and then the flame comes to life on point. So I think that I don't really know why I need to give an argument for this. I mean, it just kind of says it in this kind.
Right. Again, so if it's to be the case where it's described as flames will come to life right on point, I don't think that there's a contradiction in suchness being suggestive of time. If it's to be the case that that would follow, then the previous argument would still work. So he can be utilizing his vision, okay? All right. So he's synchronously using his eyesight to spawn a fire that is summoned onto an opponent. You are still assuming that this is happening in instantaneous speed when it could be a activation speed. There's no contradiction seemingly in it requiring a specific amount of time. Okay, for example, if this version of Sasuke or even Itachi tried to do the same thing to Wally West, he would probably be able to blitz them really badly and dodge the Amaterasu, despite it having a functionality that operates under his sight in synchrony with a summoning activation time. You're still assuming that this is going to be instantaneous merely based off the wording. You said it yourself. I don't think I need to give an argument for this. I don't think I need to give an argument for this because it just says it right there. Flames will come to life right on point. And that's just no. That's not an argument. It's equally interpretable to just not happen instantaneously. You need to give a probability raiser for why it's instantaneous, okay? And you need to give a probability raiser for why this interaction from the scan prior is even a perception blitz.
Yeah.
We're
What do you mean
waiting.
by an activation speed? What kind of activation speed do you think the Amaterasu has?
I don't think I need to quantify the activation speed of the
Why do you think it
Amaterasu. You're
helps
trying
them?
to shift the burden. You're trying to
No,
shift
just-
the burden of proof onto me. I don't think that.
Dude, I don't need a
think that.
ramble.
Put your
I don't need.
Put your
I
listening
don't-
hat on.
Oh, wait.
Put your
What do you
listening
think
hat
it was
on.
like?
Put your listening
Why-
hat
All
on.
right, all right.
Put
Mort,
your
Mort,
listening hat
Mort,
on.
Mort. You gotta
Bro,
stop.
why is he interrupting me? Why
Yeah.
is he interrupting me so much? I'm not interrupting him at all. I have
You
not
guys like a
interrupted him
5-minute
once.
ramble.
Well-
I just can't respond.
Okay, if necessary, timed responses, but I don't think that'll be
Can we
necessary.
do talking stick? Like what?
So,
No, dude, that's not how the server-
He accused you of a burden switch. Go from there.
Yeah, no, of course. What I'm saying, I'm asking him like, why does he think that there's an activation speed to it? That's a simple
Again,
question.
so like he just doesn't understand how like regular forms of agnosticism work. He's trying to shift the burden of proof onto me for everyone in the audience live that's watching this abysmal performance from Great Calamity, right? What I'm doing is I'm casting doubt on something. So for example, with the existence of God, if I say, why does God exist? And then Calamity's like, oh, can you give me an argument for why God doesn't exist? I don't need to do that. I'm casting doubt on your claim, smart one. Put your
Okay.
listening hat on. It's called shifting the burden of proof. Locked
Okay.
fucking.
I'm not responding to that because it didn't actually attack what I said. So for the other one,
Can you justify that it didn't attack what you said?
yeah, I
Good
don't
luck
think I
doing
need
that.
to. We can just leave that to the judges. But
Prove that you don't need to.
All right. Well, yeah, he doesn't need to prove that it's not that his claim is necessarily true. If you already put that into question, then we can move on from that.
yeah, if you think
Right.
what
So
you said,
I basically say that there, I say that there could be an activation speed. You asked me what do I define as activation speed, which is not sequitur or obligatory to my fucking argument. Right. All
not
I'm
what I
saying
said.
is that it simply could be the case. I didn't say that that's what you said. And then you're interrupting me again. You can't help it, bro. You can't help it.
Nobody's
You just
falling
can't
for this
help it.
round.
Have you never been into class before where you have to just like sit down, right?
Yeah,
In my
this
school they
is
called
not-
it
this is
SLANT. There
not
was an
productive.
acronym, SLANT,
Why are
SLANT,
you letting him do
right?
this? Like this is not-
Stand, sit,
All right.
straight.
All right.
That's what the S was
Mort,
for.
Mort,
Why
is
are you
this
letting him
is
do
this
attentive.
Mort? Hold on, is this relevant, brother?
This is not relevant at all.
The question about activation speed is very relevant, right? Because he
Well, no,
asked
the
me,
slant thing.
right? What do I define as activation speed? And I said,
Holy
why would I
dude,
need to
like,
do
why are
that?
you just letting him ramble? I'm just
Why
gonna
would I?
leave
Why
it.
would I?
Well, I
why
paused
would I
it.
need to do that?
Okay, cool.
just gonna leave it
So
there.
you already put it in question. So Mort is basically saying he doesn't have to justify whether or not it does have an activation speed or how fast the activation speed is. So do you want to interact with that, or do we just want to move on from this point?
I think that whenever they have activation speed, they need some sort of like they would probably have some sort of like credence builder to that, or else it would just be an equal possibility. Like, no, not an equal interpretation. That's the wrong word. For activation speed or like an activation, whatever, you need. I think you would probably need some sort of like indicator or whatever. I don't think that he would justify an indicator. Him saying that like he could just have this activation speed that could be this fast. I don't think that's actually like substantial to any conversation we're having. Oh wait, I forgot to talk. I forgot to talk about the other part, but I'm not letting him slip it through. But for the instantaneous thing, if it just spawns on a point, then that point would be predicated off his perception. It's not like, wait, let me actually read this again.
Why can't he just look at something and then it spawns after, bro? Why does it spawn with the immediate moment of him looking at something? Can you justify that, please?
Predicated on his perception.
You're assuming that it has to be, and you've yet to justify that.
Wait. I'm moving on from this because this is going in loops, and he's not actually responding. He's not engaging with anything I'm saying.
Okay, you can move on. If you guys feel like you've argued this point.
I don't think you dictate the debate, right?
Yeah,
I think moving on is a mutually agreed upon thing. No, moving on is a mutually agreed upon thing that both contestants agree to.
Yeah, so if you, well, no. So if you feel like you guys have both addressed this point and there's nothing else you guys want to add to this point, then we can move on.
No, I think there's still more to add to this point.
So
all I think that's happening here is that V2 Raikage is dodging a speed of the Amaterasu as it's being cast. I asked multiple times, there's a contradiction to the Amaterasu having an activation speed upon being cast. My opponent said that it's correlative or something along the lines of being with your eyesight, and I told him, yeah, what's the contradiction in him looking at something and then it taking time to spawn? He could see Barry Allen, but if Barry Allen's that much faster than the activation speed, that he can move his body similar to the Raikage as to not get touched. I don't think that we've actually established that this is a perception blitz. I don't see why it's going to be a perception blitz. And the worst part is, you're also assuming that Sasuke can't be faster
is just rambling.
than that attack.
I asked him to move on. He just starts rambling.
Is there a contradiction? No, this is a new argument. Is there a contradiction in Sasuke outscaling Amaterasu? Is there?
Well, one second, Calamity. He did make a new argument.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I asked him to move on so I can actually connect my scaling, and then he starts making his own assertions. Like, you're not on the assertion, dude.
I'm not on the assertive. I understand that.
So
yeah, so can I connect?
I'm not scaling pain. I'm not scaling Spain. I'm not scaling pain whatsoever.
Okay, so more.
I didn't make an assertion.
Well, one second. More. So do you have anything else to add to your contention here or no?
No, I just asked a question. As long as he got that last question, we can move on. If he doesn't want to answer my last question or any of my questions, we can just move on from this point. If he doesn't want to answer my questions.
What was the question?
I think you had a tracking error. I think we should just move on.
Well, go ahead. Well, more. Just go ahead and say it one more time. I have the timer paused.
What's the question?
Just go ahead.
I don't see how this works, right? Like, I'm tired of him trying to dictate the debate. It's pissing me off.
Well, more. So mortified. Just pause really quick. Pause really quick. Hold on, more. I'm gonna give this same exact grace to both sides. So if he says something and you miss it, and then you want clarification, I'm gonna have him clarify as well. So I'm gonna have both of you guys have the opportunity to ask for clarification on something one time, and then if they repeat the point again after the clarification is asked and you don't get it, then that's on you guys. So just go ahead and repeat your question so he can engage with it, and then we can move on.
Is there a contradiction in Sasuke being faster than Amaterasu?
Oh, that question. Yeah, I'm not engaging with that. I don't need to.
Okay, cool. So we can move on.
That was like, just the same.
It's getting ridiculous. He gets to decide what's worth interacting with, what isn't.
More. If he doesn't, you're putting mortified. Yeah, I know. More. Hold on. I don't want to have to mute you, brother. More. So
what are we doing?
Mortified. If you put something into question, and you feel like you properly put it into question, and he doesn't engage with it, that's just how. He has every right to not engage with something if he wants to move on from it. So if you believe that you've defeated his premise or properly equal interpreted or whatever, then there's no point in staying on this point if he doesn't want to continue to engage with it.
Wait, the way you're wording that seems like a concession, but like the way. Can I speak to Sage?
Yeah, go ahead.
The way you're wording that makes it seem like I'm like conceding or like I lost the point or something.
No. What I'm saying is like, yeah,
like,
Right.
relevant to what I'm saying.
Right. So if you feel like you've properly addressed the points that have been brought up, and Mort feels like he's properly addressed the points that have been brought up, then you guys can just move on from the point.
I don't feel that's the case, by the way. So he's like saying that we have this. We probably have an indicator. He's not justified this. What's the probability raiser, or what's the inductive element that's even going to present something that's suggestive of us having an expected evidence towards it being the case that there is an indicator? What's going to be the argument for that? Because I'm not letting that slip past me.
Wait, Mortified, just for the car, the dude you're talking with in chat is not
Mortified.
fit, so
Let's answer
Hey.
the question.
Wait, give me a second. Yeah, so for indications, there's normally, for like using juice or something, there's normally hand signs, character statement, or like welling up chakra, like a zoom in, whatever. I think that these are probability
prove that?
raisers, like these sort of
Yeah,
things.
prove all that. Said evidence. Prove that. Prove that it's more oftentimes than not an expected evidence, because that's what you have to
I
do.
think it's like kind of a ridiculous burden. I can just give loads of consistency, and that would probably track on.
Okay, give the consistency, show the evidence, show the scans, give the
my
arguments,
lord.
provide the preponderance of evidence. That's what we're putting into question currently. I don't know if you knew that or not, but it's blatantly obvious. It's blatantly
Yeah, I
obvious.
know what you're
that
doing. I'm just saying, asking me to prove
excuse
like
me,
every,
questioning.
like all these instances that they use hand signs is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's very beneficial to you, not very beneficial to me. So I'm not going to let it slip past me because it's inconvenient for you to prove your own burden.
Okay,
Imagine.
and again, I'm getting this count.
Imagine.
More-
No,
more-
It's
This is just ramble,
much
like,
of
dude.
inconvenience.
More-
to
more-
each
more-
other
more-
fucking
more-
burden.
more-
Wait,
more.
Sage,
There's no.
if he does this one more time, I'm leaving the debate.
Yeah, Mort. There's no
Okay.
reason. Mort, hold on. There's no reason to keep going after you've made your point. Like you don't have to give
Yes,
like
yes,
analogy or
yes,
anything
yes.
like that. So
He needs to
Yeah,
justify his stuff. Go ahead. I'll mute
Yeah.
myself. Please justify the claim,
Go
bro.
ahead.
If you let him ramble one more time, I'm leaving the debate.
okay. Go ahead.
Sure. I'm gonna justify it, but I'm just gonna get him like loads and loads of scans for it. But I think asking me to justify that every single time they like use an attack, they need a fucking indicator is fine.
No, I said more oftentimes than not, because that's going to be the probability
Yeah, and there's like
raiser in your
thousands of
favor.
fights, and there's like thousands of fucking fights.
Okay, so your sample size is going to be quite big. Sucks to be you.
Yeah, that's
Not my problem. Not my problem.
what I'm.
That sounds like a you problem. Sounds like you made a claim of doom, and now you have a burden
Wait,
of
what
doom.
chapter's the Wait, what chapter's the final valley Sage?
Which one? Part 1 or part 2?
Part 1.
Part 1, the Itachi flashback is 223. Here, I'm gonna pause timer for a second since we're grabbing scans. So the flashback is 223, I believe. What part of the the final value you looking for?
No, I got it. It's fine. I got the final valley. How many fights would you like Mortified to justify it, where they use hand signs and all this stuff?
Yeah, it's not a matter of what I'd prefer. You claimed that there is an expected evidence. You said verbatim, there would probably be an indicator of an activation time if there was one. And I'm asking you to justify that. So when we examine Naruto under a tight lens holistically, yeah, maybe there is thousands of fights. Boo-hoo. That's not my problem, bro. You have to justify with your expected evidence argument that more often than not, it would follow as suchness. So if you give 5 examples, I could question why there aren't 10 on the contrary. You
my
literally
lord.
have to justify that throughout the majority of Naruto, that
Yeah, I
X
don't
takes
think I need
place
to
in order to
justify
fulfill
it,
your
but-
claim.
I mean,
You saying I
got
don't
my
think
claim
you
wrong
need to
in the first-
justify that isn't something
got
that the
my
judges are
claim
going to
wrong.
consider as an
Okay,
argument. That's just
if
you
you-
going,
if you're
wah.
looking at
Well,
I don't
more-
think we have to
more-
do this
more-
'cause I'm Calamity, wah.
Hold on, Mort. What were you saying, Calamity?
I'm gonna leave the debate because you're just letting him ramble. So.
Well,
I
I'm
think you
cutting
got
him
three
off as
parts,
soon as he
just
starts
letting him
rambling.
That's not true.
and I'm pausing the timer every time too. So as soon as he like stops addressing what you've been saying and starts going on to something else, I pause the timer and I tell him to stop.
Okay, just mute him. Like anytime I'm speaking or I'm looking for scans, just mute him because the dude's just gonna go off on a ramble.
Okay, so Mono, could
I
you?
didn't agree to the talking stick. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah, I
So
don't care if you agree to it. You're
so
drunk.
here's
I'm
what
not
here's what
interrupting him. What the heck?
yeah here's what I'm gonna do. If we keep like rambling too much after addressing points, or if we have excessive cutting off, then we will have to implement that. But I think that we can all just agree to address the points that we're trying to address and then let the opponent do what they're doing. The first like 5 minutes of this debate were fine, but the last like 13 minutes have been a lot of, extra stuff tacked on top of the points. So let's just try to keep it as concise as possible. Just address the points. Let's not go on to, side tangents and stuff. So Calamity,
Yeah.
if you want to respond to what he
the
said.
Itachi fight?
The Itachi versus Sasuke,
Yep.
it ends in 393. I think it begins in 384.
Okay. I'm just gonna give two. I'm gonna give two major fights in the series as expected evidence, and it's like that. I don't think I need to give any more, since there's.
Can you
enough.
justify why you don't think you need to give more?
Yeah, I think if these indicators are like present in like these big fights, I think it would most likely track onto this thing, unless you can provide some sort of counter evidence. I still have the preponderance of evidence.
I wouldn't need to give counter evidence. Well, how many burden shifts are we gonna go for, ladies and gentlemen? Mostly gentlemen. How many? How many?
All right, more. You just have to say it.
Is this a response?
You just have to say it one time.
Is this a response?
Like, hello. Again, that's not how probability works, right?
Calamity. Well,
is
really
a
quick.
majority.
Calamity, you're still grabbing
2
scans
out
right
of
now?
1,000 isn't a majority.
Yeah, I'm looking through the Itachi fight. I think I probably have enough.
Okay.
Unfortunately, man. Unfortunately, 2 fights out of hundreds is not a majority. 2 out of 100 is an improbability. So if we have 100 fights that all utilize things that possess potential activation speeds, and you can only account for 2 out of the 100, you'd be making something based off of an improbability. That doesn't give you credence.
Okay, it wouldn't be an improbability.
You need to show that the majority of fights possess suchness, as opposed to not.
Well,
I don't need
more.
to justify
More.
why
Hold
the
on.
other fights don't. I'm merely doubting your claim.
Yeah.
Wait,
go ahead and let him
wait,
respond.
Are you like deaf? Like, do you not just hear him like whenever he starts repeating himself over and over and over again?
Well, I just cut him off, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Him saying like the 200 out of 100 thing is an improbability. It's not actually an improbability because he would be assuming that these other things are not present. But I think I already responded to the rest being a preponderance and stuff. So I sent all the scans for it. If he doesn't think that's relevant, so.
Okay.
No, it's not assuming that the other things are not present. Again, he's so. Oh my gosh. Let's go. I'm gonna start counting. So we have like 5 on our belt. It's gonna be burden shift number 6. Stamp. What are we talking about? This is actually ridiculous. Am I debating an inanimate object or a fish in a bowl? Or am I debating a person?
All right, more.
What are you doing?
I'm not. Wait. Hold on. Okay, the volume that I
what are you
project
doing?
myself is
Why
not
are you letting him do
suggestive
this?
of validity or soundness.
It's
That's
buzzed.
BS. Just because I'm being loud doesn't
Well,
mean that I'm
more.
being
He
loud.
never.
I'm
More. He
not
never.
giving an
More.
argument. I am giving an argument.
More. He never.
Okay.
He never questioned that. And you
No,
did
right
just.
now
Well,
he
and
said- he
more.
just said no. He just tried to say that I'd be assuming something which is untrue.
Yeah.
I need
But
to
you.
address this.
Yeah, but you've already addressed it. You already addressed it.
This is rambling to go through time. I'm gonna connect the scaling noise. So.
I've had to pause this so many times. Yeah. So let's just let Calamity go. All right, go ahead, brother.
Okay. So the view
Is
on
there a
Raikage-
contradiction in the other examples that you
Oh
don't
my
show,
lord,
not showing
like,
X?
More. Hold on. Just let him make his claim. You've already addressed that.
He's just going to assume that I'm assuming. Let's get it.
Okay.
All right.
I have the V1 Raikage just scales over Naruto in terms of speed at least. I think that all the stuff that I've just sent, he's able to keep up with his V2 mode. At least he keeps up with him. I'll say at least, but he's able to outspeed him, tag him, keep up with him at least. So I think he outspeeds him at the very end. So let me grab the data book as well. I have the. Do you have the picture for it? I don't have the. I have the text for it. It's his like the one where he says that he. Wait, I'll send it. I think you'll know it's Sage.
The
Do you know
yeah
the image?
yeah I've got this. I'll pause this again. I'll post it in chat.
Yeah, I read through like all the scans of the Itachi and Heavy Sasuke and Naruto and Sasuke. Like, what even suggests that in any of those panels is representative of a activation speed quantification? Why didn't read any time limit? I didn't read any seconds. I didn't read any time frame in those scans.
Okay, that wasn't the point. Okay, that wasn't the just. Okay,
No, that
you
was
just
the
failed
earlier
to track-
point.
You just failed to track it. Yeah, wait, you failed to track it, so we can move on. And I
So-
already presented my next line of scaling. Yeah, thanks, Sage.
Yep.
Just because you want to like gish gallop doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to question something that I haven't questioned. So
I already
I'm doing that now.
So okay, we can move on to the V1.
Right. So you sent these two you sent these two fights
Can
as
we
a means to
why-
suggest that there's an expected
this
evidence towards an activation speed
This is
being
not the- okay, that was
depicted
not
in the series.
Mort, are
And
you
I read
Mort?
through
Hold
the
on.
scans,
Are you
And
mortified?
there's no time frame given in either
Okay.
of these instances.
That's okay. Cool.
Where's the time frame? What's
There
the
we go.
quantification for the activation
I
speed
think I
that you suggest existed to even present a
Oh my
preponderance of
word.
expected evidence?
Okay.
What does this get? This is just run. You're burning through my time by just letting him ramble when it's not relevant.
I promise you, I keep pausing it, but you do have 10 minutes left. So
exactly, like he's already used 20 minutes. We're on the first point.
so
All right,
you
sure. Well, okay, what do you want to talk about now? These new panels?
Those.
What's the argument?
We can talk about the V1 stuff now, but they were not used to justify an activation time specifically. But yeah, V1 Raikage is able to keep up with him. He's able to tag him. Naruto is able to run. Naruto is able to run a considerable length of distance. The Raikage keeps up with him. He moves after Naruto moves and keeps up with him or catches up to him. To do that, he would need to be faster. The databook statement says he's able to keep up with him at the very least. These are all in V1, and then this would go off V2 over V1. Yeah, V2 Raikage would just be massively above HTM Naruto.
Why would he be massively above him? Because he can keep up with him. That's literally like contradictory.
Okay, is this an
implicitly. What
actual
the heck?
response you're going for? Yeah, this is not.
What do you mean? Is this an actual response? Like,
okay,
I don't know.
yeah.
You do this thing where you presuppose that I'm not tracking the things that you're saying, and I beat you for it. That's what happened in our last debate. You just assume that I don't track what you say.
okay? All right.
and
This
move
is
on.
not. This is not.
That's
This is
how I
not. More.
interact with
This is not relevant.
So
It's not
I
relevant.
don't know how you keep saying that. That I'm
So-
asking a question, dude. What the heck? He's the one
So
responding with
hold on.
irrelevancy.
1 second. So
My tracking.
Calamity, I have it paused. Do you want to continue with that argument? Do you feel like
Yeah, this is
okay?
like super simple. Like I'll literally do one clarification thing. Unless he has an actual contention with the scans, then what he's saying is just irrelevant. The V2 Raikage is massively over V1. That's what we just talked about. And then the V1 Raikage has at least comparable speed to Naruto with, I think, aiming slightly above. So that would put V2 Raikage above V1 Raikage over KCM, which is what the chain scale is. If he doesn't think that connects, we can just move on so I can connect the scaling. So
Yeah. Again, what makes you think that the Raikage is equal to Naruto in combat speed in these panels? Because all
Okay.
I see
Like,
is that
you're
he's
literally
relative
not
to him in
tracking
terms of
at all.
travel speed.
you're literally nowhere near tracking.
I mean, yeah, Naruto blocks every single attack, every single one, literally.
I don't think that's
And
relevant.
then he's moving at a potentially sub-relative speed in terms of bodily movement with his legs.
Why is it sub-relative?
I said potentially.
Okay, I already explained why it's not potentially sub-relative. So do you want to actually?
You've explained why it's not potentially sub-relative, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a contradiction in interpreting these order events as so, where it's simply as follows:
it being
that
a
he moves
contradiction doesn't
at
mean
a
it's not
relative speed in terms of travel speed.
Wait,
So you're
there
saying
doesn't
that this version of the Raikage, excuse me,
For things to be,
bro. See what I'm saying? Look,
Yeah,
how y'all
Calamity.
get mad when I get loud when he fucking interrupts me, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah, let him.
anything he
What
says,
the
like,
fuck?
I
Shut
don't
the
think
fuck
he's
up.
Well, hold on,
Shut
hold
the
on,
fuck
hold on,
I don't
Calamity.
think you engage in my argument because I'm
One
just gonna keep
second,
fucking
one
interrupting you,
second,
and then I'm
one
crying
second.
like a fucking whiny baby
Mort,
anytime you fucking get loud.
Mort, you gotta stop. So you gotta let Mort finish his contention. He was bringing up a point about travel speed versus combat speed. He's
literally rambling.
questioning why.
No, I'm not rambling, right?
He's
What's the
questioning.
contradiction? Why can't it be the case that they're
There we
different?
go.
Okay,
Because Naruto
saying-
blocks
he's
every
like
attack,
subject-
Lade.
okay.
He blocks every attack. He blocks every
Okay.
attack, Lade.
Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Calamity.
I already explained why they're not sub-rel. He's able to keep up with him, at least be slightly faster. I already explained the order of events, why he would be faster.
Why is he slightly faster, bro?
Okay.
Naruto
if you
blocks
want to
every
track this,
attack.
I've clarified it twice now, so I don't think under the judgment I need to do it again.
No,
Yeah,
saying
well-
why is he faster is not clarifying an argument. It's just repeating the
Yeah,
claim.
I already did clarify. I already clarified the argument.
No, you just
twice.
repeated the claim. You didn't clarify the
Well,
argument. You just
if
repeated the
okay,
claim.
so if you guys feel like we're going in circles here because that's how it feels to me, then we can just move on from this point.
Sure. For
I'm
speaking
not
in the
willing to move
travel
on
speed
yet.
thing, I think the
Well, Mort, do
Okay, I
you
think
feel
travel
like
speed and
really
comms.
quick? I have it paused.
Can
Mort,
I?
do you
What?
feel like just
He,
one
he,
second? Mort,
he literally
do you feel
interrupted me in the
like
middle of my
well?
contention.
I know,
Of
hold
course
on.
not.
Mort, do you feel like you have addressed the points that he has made?
Not entirely. No.
Okay,
I'm not yet finished. So
okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to finish addressing the points that have been made. And then Calamity, I'm going to give you an opportunity to, if you feel like you have properly made your points, then we can move on after that, or you can add something onto this. It's up to you. I have the timer paused. We have just under 7 minutes left, just as a reminder.
Holy Lord.
So
okay, let
mortified,
me just.
and
Can you
I'm not
pause it? I gotta
gonna.
grab a scan. Hold up. I'm gonna grab a
Okay,
scan
so this is
quickly.
paused
Wait, what are you?
because, and by the way,
What are you
because
grabbing a scan for?
well, because we're going in circles for Mortified's rebuttal here, because I feel like if it's the same thing, just to be safe, I don't want to waste any more time. So if it's just repeated, it's not going to count to the time.
All right.
But
All I think I need
No,
to
no,
yeah,
I'm
respond
not.
to
I'm
is
not
the
repeating
travel
myself.
speed.
No. Wait.
Combat
So
speed
again,
count.
right? So we're talking about travel, the distinction, the potential distinction between travel and combat speed. So I haven't even asserted that actually follows. We're just again doubting his claim and questioning why these things can't follow. We're saying, well, why can't a god exist? Right? Hypothetically, as an analogy. So again, what we see here is Jugo, right? Everyone in Taka is getting outsped in terms of travel speed because the distance traveled is greater than their own movement. He's barely even noticing at the point at which his fist is near his face. It's about an inch away from his chest, chin, face area, right? And then at the last second, we see that Jugo is able to block to not have the fist be put in his face at the very last moment. So what this could potentially be suggestive of is it having a distinction between his combat speed and his travel speed, because the Raikage was technically outspeeding Taka in terms of travel speed, but Jugo, who's a member of Taka, was able to react to him physically. Relativistically to what we see with Naruto here, as I said, he blocks all of the Raikage's attacks and he has no intent to kill him. He doesn't need to hurt him. He's just trying to run past the guy, and he's failing to run past the guy because the guy is relative to him in travel speed, so he keeps on getting in the way. What's the contradiction in him just being relative to this version of Naruto in that state in terms of travel speed? And the reason that this is applicable to the debate here is I can give a fuck about Raikage's travel speed if you can't attribute it to combat in regards to connectivity to pain. If you can't attribute the speed at which
well,
why are you interrupting me?
he's still on
No,
the
I'm
he's
not
still making his
rambling.
point.
If
You're
you
good. Go
like,
ahead.
No, because like this is don't know.
bro, shut up. No, hey, again, bro, you're interrupting me. Stop fucking obfuscating. Stop being intrusive.
I paused it.
If it's to be the case that you have, if it's to be the case that you fail to provide a connectivity to Pain's combat speed in terms of this travel speed, in retrospect, I don't fucking care.
Okay.
Why would I care?
Cool. So Mortified I think has made his point. I think Mortified has made his point about the travel speed versus combat speed. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Calamity respond. Mortified, please don't cut him off, and same thing in reverse as well. Just let him finish whatever point he's making. If he makes multiple points, you're more than welcome to address that. But we're gonna let Calamity go ahead and speak. Timer is starting as soon as you talk. Yep.
Really quick, should we say that chat members probably don't at the contestants mid-debate?
Yeah, chat members definitely don't do that. Like we do not need that happening.
Okay.
Okay, Calamity, whenever you start, I'm gonna start the timer.
Literally just ban future, bro.
That's not
He's
future,
pinging like
dude. That's
80
speed.
times.
That's speed. Wait, I'm grabbing the scan, but yeah, Mortified, that's speed, by the way.
Ban whoever it is, bro. I don't care, bro.
Okay. Okay, sure. I've got it. First off, I'm gonna bring in like multiple contentions for this. So, I think the first contention is that the speed of AY's arm swinging is still blitzing him by like this logic. Still, he's only able to react to this like last minute stuff. But then, I could just probably say this. Wait, speed's like spam DMing me. Give me a second. Let me block this guy. Okay, there we go. Speed is fucking spam DMing me. And then for the second contention, I think I can give like a more preponderance of evidence for travel speed and combat speed being relative in this. And then for the third contention, I could probably just say that he allowed himself to be hit, or you can never prove he wasn't just hit and then put up the guard. The reason why I say he allowed himself to be hit, he starts like right after he starts smiling, he could have just used this. Wait, I'm being fucking called by speed. Holy shit.
Bro, why?
He's fucking calling
Bro.
me. me a
Another
sec.
burden of doom.
Wait, I'm being
Yikes.
Speed is calling me. Give me a second.
Burden of doom. Doo
Okay,
doo doo doom.
Yeah.
This is a
I just, he
burden
could have
of
just
doom.
Mort,
Just
let him
burden
talk.
of doom.
Mort, let him talk.
He
Go
starts
ahead.
smirking and he starts smirking and laughing. Could be just be an indication of him getting him in so that he could actually attack him. Then Suigetsu anyway. Suigetsu blatantly reacts to him. Suigetsu then goes relative to a weaker, slower Jugo. So I think it would just make no sense and lend credence to the fact he was just being tactical and let him come in for it. That's it.
All right, Mort.
Again, right? So if I decide to do something out of a tactical fashion or not, this doesn't absolve the potential speed at which I move my body. So that's actually not interacting or a refutation to him moving his body at the last second to react with his combat speed. When you talk about running, he could just be running with his fist out like if he's jousting. If a prince has a fucking, like the prince in Clash Royale, it's jousting. It's using the horse's travel speed to impale people. Yet again, it's not going to be correlative to his combat speed. It's a combat ability, theoretically, because he's like performing an attack, but it's not correlative to the speed at which he moves his arms as in terms of reaction time. Rather, it's just like a jousting methodology, which he's running at his opponent with his fist out or fist ready to be swung. Okay? For one. For two, you are assuming that Suigetsu is slower than the Raikage. Good luck justifying that. And another thing, right? He could be smirking and having... I'm not finished. He could be smirking and having this plan to allow himself to get tagged as a means of punching him. Or it can simply be the case that being the shinobi that he is, he might just have the intelligence to think of this as it's happening. And there's no contradiction in that happening either. So if that's to be the case, and you're just assuming that it necessarily follows that he's doing this ploy, whereas opposed, he could simply be taking things to the course of his advantage as the circumstances are provided. He could just thinking on the fly and say, okay, well, I'm currently getting overpowered here, so I'll bring him in close and then overpower myself with these blasters. That doesn't mean that was necessarily the plan from the jump. So you're actually the one who's creating this grandiose assumption to just assume without an argument or an evidence to suggest that he allowed this to happen. It simply could be the case that he chose to do the next move based on the circumstances provided. It's almost like, oh, you're close to me, well then I'll just shoot you with my cannons. Right? So again, I think that these are just assumptions after assumption after assumption. So I guess it's slower, that's an assumption.
All right.
And then what are all these scans in the bottom? What are these scans in the bottom supposed to represent? Is this
More-
the preponderance?
More,
Is it travel speeds relative
you're
to combat?
you're mortified. Your point
Justice.
your point has been made. Yeah. So go ahead and Calamity address it.
Okay.
You have 3
For
minutes,
the
by the way.
Suigetsu thing. Okay, for the Suigetsu thing, Suigetsu blatantly reacts to these fast. For the Jigo thing, I don't think that,
Oh,
like
you keep calling someone fast means you're
so he's
slower
just
than them?
letting me.
Yeah.
he's
Go,
just letting.
go ahead. Go,
let him do
Calamity.
that. Okay, so his burden is that he gets blitzed in terms of travel speed, but he's able to react in terms of combat speed. But Suigetsu blatantly reacts to him dashing towards him, and then Suigetsu scales to like a weaker Jigo. So, for him saying that he could have made the ploy on the fly, I don't think that's relevant because the ploy would still be enacted. He would be able to. He still reacts last minute or whatever.
They reacted.
To be able to pull him. Okay. Again, I don't think that's relevant. But if you think that the fact that he didn't react or whatever, or he reacted last minute or whatever, I don't think it's a response. But did you ask me a question at the end of your thing?
Right. I don't think you just, in that response,
Wait,
justified
ask
why
your
Soigetsu was
Ask your-
above
ask your
or
question.
below the Raikage. I don't even see the
Ask your
connectivity there.
question.
It could
Ask
be the
your
case that Jugo is relative to Soigetsu.
wait,
That would just mean that
you're-
both of
am I
them are
muted?
capable of
Hold
reacting
on.
to the
Wait, am I
Raikage.
muted?
Hey, so Mort, you did just address that point, but he asked you if you asked a question at the end of your previous rebuttal.
Yeah, I did. I was going to talk about these scans at the bottom here. Like, sending scans doesn't
Yeah.
vocally justify anything in debate. So the
Okay.
judges aren't going to consider the fact that you sent
Okay,
scans.
this
as
is
Yeah.
vocally
all I
means.
need
Yeah,
That doesn't
the-
justify why it's
yeah,
the case.
yeah, yeah.
Excuse me. It
Well,
actually-
more.
and-
Well, hold on,
and-
more.
and- and- why it's the case that
More.
doesn't necessarily take
More.
place.
Yeah, we get that. The question was basically, what are the scans about? That's what the question was.
You
You have
let him ramble and waste my time.
no. I paused it way before. You can go back and check stream. I promise.
So what's happening in the examples, to address this really quick, it simply could be the
I didn't
case
even-
that the
wait.
characters in question in
clarification,
regards
I
to
didn't
all
even
these
get to argue my
encounters.
example.
Wait. So again, hold on. So this doesn't actually correct.
Well, more. You already
question.
said that too. More. You already said what you were saying just now. So
You're not
Calamity,
letting
go
me
ahead.
respond to your question.
I'll just use my time to refute the other scans and fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, you're not letting me respond to your question, but yeah. For the first response, we see them running at the same speed. We then see them fighting at the same speed, reacting at the same speed. dodging at the same speed. Same with Itachi. They're both running with each other equally, then an attack at the same time. Sasuke's chasing him, neither catch up to either, so Itachi doesn't get farther away. Sasuke doesn't catch up to him. They have relative speed. They have
No,
relative
all right, so
seasonal
we're not
activation.
understanding the argument,
Okay, I'm just
unfortunately.
not. Okay. Unfortunately, you're gonna let me speak, Bob. For this, Minato and what's it called? Okay, Minato and Obito run at the same speed. They then attack each other. The mutually
Same
assured thing.
argument.
Okay,
More-
and then you
more-
can
let me
look at
finish,
like
brother.
any Naruto. Then you can look at like any Naruto and Sasuke fight where they run at each other and throw an attack at the same time. I think it's like just a preponderance. So
Oh man, this is like
just like a chill multiplier for that. Wait, Mortify, what were you gonna say?
You have 1 minute, by the way.
So
Lord,
this is like
okay.
no different than like if Dofi were to send the same scan 6 times and say he's developing a preponderance of evidence. That's literally the equivalent of what we're doing here. So what simply could be taking place is that Kakashi and Guy could have relative travel speed and relative combat speed to each other, but both of those things being true is not going to be suggestive of they're lacking a distinction between their differing speeds. So it could be the case that Guy is relative to Kakashi in combat speed, and they're also relative to each other in travel speed, and the same thing could be said for all of the instances, but that's not an argument or a credence raiser for why their combat speed and travel speed to themselves is the same. It could be the case that when Kakashi and Guy are running, they're moving faster than when they're attacking each other, despite their relativity in combat speed and their synchronous relativity in travel speed. You're still assuming that would necessitate or make it likely that the speed at which they travel is equivocated by the speed at which they punch, which is not necessarily true. Both of the characters could just be relative in both of those different stats in every
So you're just
encounter, whether
letting
it's
him repeat
Obito, whether it's
Yeah,
Minato, whether
I
it's
paused
Itachi,
it.
or
I
it's
paused
Itachi.
it. I paused it.
By the
Yeah.
way, I'm gonna repeat myself like 14 times whenever he's scaling, just for
So
clarification.
every time he's done that, I've paused it as soon as it started coming up again. So you have 30 seconds to
Oh my
say
fucking
for
dick.
whatever else you want to put on there.
This
You
is just so stupid.
well, we have a time limit because we have another debate. But I'm gonna give you like a grace minute so that you can try to connect the scaling because I imagine that's where you're headed with this. Is there
Yeah, I'm
anything
looking
else
for
you want to
scans, so
address?
just give me a sec.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to address from
when
that particular set of points or no?
I'm gonna respond to it after I get the scan, but where's the Sonata? When does? Oh wait, never mind. I got it. When do they engage with each other? When does the Raikage and Sonata pull up on Naruto?
It's like 5:40.
What the fuck is it?
It's like right around
I'm
5:40.
pretty sure you know the scan that I'm talking about. It's like fucking hell.
Yeah,
six Sonata. Oh, wait, no, I got it.
5:41 is when they first
Never mind.
arrive. You got it?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna respond to his point really quick, and I'm gonna connect it. So,
Okay.
the entire point is that it's not literally travel speed equals combat speed or like any sort of that thing. I'm saying that like generally they're like relative and thing. It doesn't need to be relative. Like I don't really understand the point of what you're saying, but the entire point is that they share general relativity like in combat speed with each other in these sort of instances. So like if they're both running at a 10 and then they punch at a 5, that would still show that like sort of relativity. But I'm gonna connect it really quick. So
I
think
think
KCM's
it's literally
overtake.
half the value of 10.
okay,
It's like saying I could only punch half as fast as I can run,
I
but
said that
just
wrong.
put it.
I didn't mean 5 and 10. I meant like say like a 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but that's just not true.
Okay. For the stage mode, for the connection to KCM stage mode, Tsunade sees Naruto like blitz the Yasuo path or whatever and like fight every single path of pain. He's so surprised that Nine-Tails chakra is able to keep up the Raikage. If she thought the stage mode is able to keep up the Raikage, this would not be the case. Favorite indication shows that like stage mode is at least faster. No, I mean KCM's faster, and then I think KCM scales of pain based off the fact that first off, he beats the shit out of pain. He blitzes the one shots 5 paths. He blitzes the one shots 5 paths, and I think he just beats every single one of them. So let me grab the scan. So you can pause the timer while I grab the scan for this.
Yep, I got you.
How is that not a minute? That's not
Well,
been 60 seconds. How much seconds are left for this guy?
There are 2.5 seconds left. So
Dude, I'm
Well,
gonna.
you're out of time,
Mark,
buddy.
when I took
I'm not out of time, bro.
time takes a lot longer than you think. That's why I used to try to limit you to only a minute, bro. You see how long that felt?
Yeah.
No, I'm just like anxious about his time. I didn't think that felt long.
I'm gonna
was
use
just
my
like,
2.5 seconds very well.
Oh yeah. You better.
I'm gonna use this very, very well.
And what I always do is whenever the time runs out, whatever the particular point is being made when the time runs out, I let each side have one shot at it. If there's new information brought up, then you can obviously rebut and stuff. But then we move on to the next thing because there's another 30 minutes for him to address anything else as well. So
You said, but
Really, this is like a W argument from ignorance.
Let me blitz the shit.
Media literacy going crazy.
Okay, let me blitz the shit out of this, right? Whenever it sends, it's gonna do it.
Ooh, sorry.
Okay, he blitzes every single path of pain. Whenever he scales the 8 tails, the 8 tails, the BG's like.
That's more in 2 seconds. 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 That's more in 2 seconds.
but we're gonna hold on.
Wait,
Whatever the individual point is that's being made when the time expires, I let you guys finish that point. So same thing is applied on both sides.
I made my point, so you can give him that little time to respond. It was about the pain stuff, so I already sent all the pounds. So
Well,
we
you
need to start
Calamity,
my time.
Calamity.
That's
Hold
fine.
on.
Bullshit.
Just one second. Yeah. I was gonna say Calamity. Like you said that so fast that I did not catch anything of what you said. I'm gonna let you repeat that point, and then we'll give Morton an opportunity to respond, and then we're gonna move on.
do I get more than 2.5 minutes so I don't have to blitz it? I mean, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. So like, whenever the time runs out, whatever point you're on, I'm gonna let you finish that point. Now, obviously, don't take
He
forever.
just made multiple points. Wait, how does that? Okay, so I have to now seep into my time to address his points, which is fine, but just letting the judges know.
So
I have to
his-
seep into my time because he made so many fucking claims the last 10 minutes or the last 5 minutes.
So no, we're not seeping into your time. You're still gonna get your full 30. But I believe the point that's being made here, because I heard the first part, is Pain or Naruto at least relative, if not above Pain, because he's able to like blitz and one tap the paths. That's what I heard.
He argued that that's KCM 1's above Sage Mode. I didn't even get to address that, bro. The hell?
I didn't finish the point.
yeah, it was between the KCM Sage mode and the Naruto.
I need to. Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I haven't got to address either of those things, bro. He's like trying to sneak shit in at the last second. I'll just use my time to address it. It's all good. Don't worry.
If you're gonna do that, do you want me to clarify? Do you want me to do the rest?
Be happy. No, bro. You're out of time, bro. You're using OT.
I'm not out of time. They just said that like.
Yeah, he
overtime.
gets to finish that point.
OT.
Yeah, so go ahead and finish that point, Calamity.
Yeah. Which point is like just connect scaling in general?
Oh
So
my
do
gosh.
we want to have specifically? Do we want to do the
I mean, the entire point was
KCM to
connect
Sage
scaling.
mode and the Sage mode of Pain?
Well, so
Or
you
the KCM to
I
Sage
feel
mode?
like you
I'm not accepting either,
because you
so
made the
it's him.
claim about the KCM based on the Tsunade statement. I'm not sure if Mortified responded to that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the rec. If not, I'll give him an
I did
opportunity.
it because he kept fucking talking.
Okay, cool. So then,
What?
Mort, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to respond to that. And then this was the point. The Naruto above the paths of pain point was the one that was being talked about when the timer ran out. So we're gonna finish that particular thing with Tsunade. I'm gonna give you guys each 2 opportunities to address it, and then the same thing for the Sage mode thing. I'm gonna give you guys each 2 opportunities to address it.
Right. Okay. So the first thing, if I'm going to talk about like the Tsunade scan, we just have another. I'll be more appropriate. We have it as like a failure to understand media literacy. It's really not that hard, laddie. Don't worry though. I'm gonna hold your hand and walk you down the yellow brick road. Okay.
He just speaks normally like
Right. Excuse me. Don't interrupt me. Tsunade has no reason to bring up the Raikage when he's not present. I don't know if you would have thunk that or not, or if you're like a little retarded or something. But she has no reason. So in the pain arc, the Raikage is nowhere to be effing found, laddie. So she has no reason to make a competitive statement in regards to his speed. Therefore, there's not seemingly a contradiction in Sage mode also being able to keep up with the Raikage. And if she witnessed that, then she could equally be surprised by it. Okay? she could equally be surprised by the potentiality in which Sage Mode Naruto also scales to him. But she had no reason to make that type of comment because he wasn't present. The village was literally getting nuked. Why would she be thinking about this meathead person who's not even in the arc? There's no reason for that type of comparative statement to even exist in that arc. So you're kind of like making an argument from ignorance. It's kind of like we're saying, hey, well, in here she says, wow, he can keep it with the Raikage speed, and the Pain arc, she doesn't say anything like that in regards to the Raikage with Sage Mode, so clearly it's going to be the case that Sage Mode's inferior to the V1. No, there's no contradiction in Sage Mode being superior or equal to this form of Naruto in terms of speed. You saying that Tsunade is surprised in one instance and not in the other is not an argument as to why it would necessarily or likely follow. That's it, yeah.
He's repeating himself. Okay, I don't
That's
need to engage
the
with that. 'Cause you
contention.
know the talk, so I'm not giving a response to that because you don't need it because you didn't respond to it. So
Okay, so you can move on to the
like, there's
Sage
so many
Mode thing.
things that I'm literally just gonna disregard because you're not actually engaging with the single thing that I've said. So
All right.
You're just
So apparently, you using Tsunade to suggest that he scales there
failing
is
to
not what
track.
you argued.
We don't need to hear you rambling, but
Okay, Calamity, you want to
you-
move on to that next point? Because you were on the Sage Mode. The last thing that you made, the last point that you made was Sage Mode Naruto over Pain.
sure. I blitzed with a one shot to spot the Pain. He outspeeds it going towards Tsunade. Pain lunges at him. He's able to break the rod before Pain's able to like do any countermeasures or anything. Pain jumps at Naruto. Naruto is able to grab the rod and kick him before he's able to do anything. Get him sent flying into a pillar before he has any sort of indication toward him even knowing that he got hit. So I think that just places him at least relative to Pain in terms of speed. So I think that would just track on that. You just follow that the V2 Raikage would just blitz the shit out of him.
All right, Mort, you can have an opportunity to respond.
All right. So if we take here, we have like a Boruto novel. 1 second, we have to let these scans load. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong scan. Shit. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. Hold on. Wait a second. Shit. So obviously it's pause timer. So we got this thing, we got this thing, and then we got one more. Where is it? I might need help grabbing this one. Apparently I don't have it. Let me just
What are you looking for specifically?
Oh, it's right here. Here we are. My bad, y'all. Here it is. Okay, here it is. I had the wrong one earlier. All right, so we have Boruto statement, right? With translation, sort of a novel. Then to like, if it's put into question as far as like the candidacy of the novels, there's evidence for that with the first tweet and this other scan right here, which is going over the Naruto timeline, and it's explaining, you know what I'm saying, everything that's happening within the verse. We have here, right, from the Boruto novel. On the battlefield, the degree of murderous intent greatly influences combat effectiveness. It is often said that even the same strike can inflict different damage depending on whether it was delivered with the will to kill or such intent. And we know, just like basic observation, that Pain has no intent to kill Naruto. His goalpost is to capture him. If he kills Naruto, then the Nine Tails will respawn somewhere else on the Earth, and it'll super derail their mission to like resurrect the Ten Tails by extracting all of nine Biju chakra. So he's going to be optimized to not engage in a way in which he's trying to kill Naruto. And then with the Boruto canonicity being fulfilled, we simply could say that Pain's not going to be operating at his highest potentiality. But there's even more credence to this because not only is he holding back an intent to kill, but there's also a potentiality in which he's fatigued because he only fights Naruto after using chaotic Shinra Tensei, which is something that could potentially expend a lot of chakra. So if it's to follow that he has to hold back his intent to kill, which already nerfs him, and he's like used a lot of energy, then he simply could just be tired. So anything that you show with Naruto or Sage Mode Naruto being able to beat up this guy could just be merely a representation of Pain progressively getting more and more tired, more and more fatigued, and also holding back the whole time. So I don't think that actually would scale to the character of Pain that I'm using, because the version of Pain that I'm using is going to be full power. He's not going to exert any chakra or anything of the sorts at the beginning of the fight. So yeah, he's going to be able to not get blitzed by the Raikage because he can react at the last second because he fucking didn't provide a connective scale that would suggest that the Raikage is above Pain. At best, he'd be able to say that he can fight Pain, which is what I'm cool with. I don't think that Pain's going to blitz the Raikage either, but I'm not even going to be arguing that just based off what I think. And I think that that thoroughly addresses that, so yeah. Can I move on to my scale now?
Do I get a response?
Yeah. I said you guys each get 2 opportunities to go over this particular thing.
Okay. The murderous intent to like kill, like the striking or anything. This like kind of presupposes that he even could kill Naruto, which I think this is just contradicted by all these things. I don't know why holding back a strike or anything would hold back your durability or speed. I don't think there's any sort of justifying this. For these jutsu weakening him, saying a significant amount is just kind of subjective. It could cost 10 amount, and then someone with like say 15 chakra, it would be a significant amount for them. But say Pain is like 500 chakra, it wouldn't be relevant to him. Naruto was also training and using jutsu before the fight, so you could exactly apply the exact same stuff on him. I don't think there's any justifiers or like contradictions in terms of like speed or anything. He could have exerted the power to say like knock him out or anything. He couldn't do that. And then for speed, actually no, I already responded to this. So does he get a response to that or?
Yeah, you guys get to finish on this point. You guys each get 2 opportunities on this. So that was your second because you made the initial claim, and then he responded. You responded. He gets a chance to respond. If he
Alright,
brings
so
up anything,
again,
if he brings up
I'm not
anything
on the
new,
assert-
1 second. If he brings up anything new, then I'll give you another chance. But then otherwise, we're going to start to go into the next time.
Right, so I'm not on the assertive. He is. So that ambiguity doesn't fucking help you, dude. It could be the case that it's only 10% of his chakra. That doesn't help you. Because it equally is possible that it could be a large portion of chakra. And since you're on the assertive, you'd have to give a probability raiser as to why it ought follow that it isn't a significant amount. Because it's very possible that Pain's tired as fuck and that he's holding back, which could severely weaken him. You haven't established that it lessens your durability. You just assume that. You haven't established that it lessens your speed. You just assume that. You haven't established that it lessens your attack power. When we have contrary evidence, you are just assuming that. Pain,
No, I agree
right?
with it.
Doesn't, excuse me, I wasn't finished, okay? Pain, right, doesn't have to be operating at full power in these instances. You're on the assertive for Naruto. So you saying that, oh, we don't know how much he's holding back. We don't know how much of a drawback that has on him. We don't know how tired he is. Doesn't help you. Also, bringing up that Naruto was exerting chakra via training prior doesn't help you either. That just creates more ambiguity. That just means that we can't even quantify whether or not these characters scale to or above each other because they're not operating at their maximum capacity. And I'm not the one scaling. You are. So you have yet to justify why Naruto is definitively above or even relative to Pain when they're both operating at their highest potentiality. You've admitted with your own argument that it's ambiguous. You're the one freaking scaling, dude. So that ambiguity does not help you. You have to establish that one is above the other.
Okay, only
I'll
repetition.
accept that you don't know. That
I
helps
hope the
me.
judges are confident enough to catch that none of that
yeah.
actually responded.
So, do you guys? I feel like everything has been addressed. So I feel like we can move on. Yeah. So Mort, we're gonna go ahead and move on to your 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this timer really quick. As soon as you start going on your scaling, I'll go ahead and hit start.
Right, so we can go ahead and hit start.
Okay.
I don't think that my opponent established that Pain is going to be getting blitzed by the Raikage whatsoever. He tried to say that the Raikage scales above himself in V2. We can accept that. He's trying to justify it being a blitz here. That's not happening. So he's unquantifiably above himself in V2. And then that version of himself is relative to Naruto in travel speed in KCM1. And then he tried to argue that KCM1 is superior to Sage Mode by using an argument from ignorance. Like, let's get it. Tsunade says in one panel that this is impressive, and when the Raikage is not even existent in the arc, she doesn't mention him. Who would have thunk that? It's almost like she has no reason to talk about the Raikage if he has nothing to do with the arc. Crazy. So there's no contradiction. Excuse me, I'm in the middle of my scaling. Basically, there's no contradiction in Sage Mode Naruto also being equally as impressive. It's unknowns to the reader. It could even be unknowns to Tsunade. Like, who knows, right? The Raikage could have pulled up, and they could have started exchanging blows on Konoha battlefield. We don't know. So all of the ambiguity that he presented doesn't help him. This is like debate philosophy 101. I'm on the assertive, or if he's on the assertive, he says something, right? And he says, Pain is below Naruto. And I'm like, yeah, but he could be holding back. And then his response to that was, well, we don't know how much he's holding back, so it could be an insignificant amount. Yeah, smart ass, you're on the assertive, so that doesn't help you. It means it's equally interpretable that it could follow that pain is unquantifiable in that regard, so it doesn't backscale to Naruto. So that was an abysmal performance from Calamity. So with all this in mind, his character is not blitzing my character. I don't really care to establish speed scaling because it's not really preferable to me. Speed scaling isn't relevant. If it's to be the case that his character can't blitz my character, I'm fine with my character having an inability to blitz his character, which is not what I'm going to argue, but just hypothetically speaking, if it amounts to that, because it doesn't really matter. The reason I think that Pain wins is that he has actual win cons. He never established the Raikage's AP. He literally just got a speed scale through because he's a dumbass. So all he has is a guy running fast and punching as hard as a butterfly. Even if I were to steel man everything that happened in the debate, which I'm not, but for the judge's sake, even if it was to follow that Calamity got everything he got through, he has no AP. None. So Pain can literally tank every. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Pain. No, you don't.
Well,
Pain gets to literally.
Really quick. So well, hold on, just to clarify. So all he's really doing is like using his time to recap everything you guys already went over. I mean, because he's
interrupted.
Well,
is my time at least paused or no?
Well, I just paused it. So I mean, if you
let me continue.
Well, hold on, just 1 second. So
get to eventually.
1 second. So all he's doing is just recapping what happened in the first 30 minutes. If you feel like, and he hasn't made any new points, like these are all just the same things that were said prior. So you're more than welcome to, but like I would.
You didn't say anything about AP, so.
Yeah, well,
you didn't. I know you didn't.
Yeah,
I know you didn't.
Wait.
You don't get a chance to scale your AP now.
Give me a second.
Well, hold on.
Why is
Well, hold on. More. 1 second. More. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. More. Hold on. I know. Hold on. More. Just to 1 second, just to clarify, he said that you didn't scale your AP. That's all he said.
Yeah, and I'm gonna respond. Yeah, and I'm gonna respond to that. During the little blitzing part of my argument, I established AP. You can go back and record it.
All right, so okay, he could just like talk whenever he wants, interrupt me whenever he wants.
Well, more. Hold on. More.
I'm the bad guy 'cause I'm loud.
1 second.
If I'm
1
so
second.
loud and rude,
Mortified.
I'm the villain. It's
Mortified.
BS.
If he thinks that you've brought up a new point, and then he's allowed to respond to new points.
Yeah. So Sage.
I didn't. It's
Wait,
not
so
a fucking
Sage-
argument. It's literally an observation. Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
There's no.
So
no
I'm.
opponents presented. It's
Well-
just a claim. I said.
Well,
he
hold on.
didn't do
More.
this.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
not
I know more. But so
an
Calamity.
announcement, so
Hold
why
on.
is he allowed to interrupt me?
1
What-
second. Just 1 second. So
are you
Calamity,
like-
if you're under the impression that you gave an AP scale, and he's under the impression that you didn't, like you're more than welcome to repeat it. But like we're gonna go back and listen to the debate again, anyways. So we'll be able to tell.
Well, yeah, we moved on, so I'm just gonna clarify.
Oh my
when I
gosh,
gave it.
waste of time.
Well, I have your
What the
time.
fuck?
Well, Mort,
He's
I have
allowed
Mort, I
to
have your
interrupt me to be like,
mortified.
yeah, actually, I did this thing.
Mortified. 1 second.
Why
1
do you
second.
have
It isn't- even-
More.
even
More.
if
Hold
it's
on.
odds,
Hold on.
I
More.
wanna continue.
More.
I wanna get this out the
I
way.
feel you 100%. But I'm gonna go ahead and just let him. If he wants to say that he made a scale and just remind us of it, like he's more than welcome to. But then we're gonna let Mortified finish what he was saying.
No, I
so
want him
long.
cutting into
1
my
second.
time to
1 second.
remind
I
you
have
guys
it.
of his
Mort.
fucking
Mort.
failure.
I have it paused. So if Calamity wants to
gosh.
if Calamity wants to say what the AP scale was, because you said he didn't provide an AP scale, he has the right to counter that.
That's trivial. No. Wait. No, that's trivial as fuck. Because if it is the case that he did and I didn't track it, then you guys will verify that, and he doesn't need an opportunity to pause my time.
This is
No.
true. So that
Yeah, and
Thank
then
you.
further-
Thank you. So
yeah,
tell Calamity to shut the fuck up. Like,
well,
geez,
one
speak, bro.
one
My
second.
goodness.
So Calamity, here's the thing. So if you did make an AP scale earlier on, we will hear it. I will give you 30 seconds to say what it was. But if I go back, hold on.
We already moved on from it. But,
Well then,
I
I don't think it's worth addressing right now. Then,
I-
if you already said it.
because I don't think you guys catched it. I was just gonna clarify like when I actually did this thing. So whenever you look back in rec, you can like go and identify when I said it.
Yeah. When did you say it?
Whenever I was blitzing out the argument, whenever I was blitzing it out to connect it, I gave the AP scale.
Okay. Well, we will hear that in the rec if it's there, and then after we or when we give our official judgment, we'll let you know. But all right, Mort, continue with what you're saying, brother.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate him interrupting me to be like, "Hey, judges, actually, I did address this thing."
Get on track, dude.
More, just continue
the
with
fuck
what
are
you're
we
saying,
doing?
brother.
This is bias. This utter fuck. Holy shit.
Mort,
You're being
What?
announced by 2 out of the 3
More.
judges. by
There
the way.
were
You don't need to
mortified.
be
There were
fucking
no extra
Neither of them
mortified.
are
Hold on,
judging.
mortified. Hold on.
Neither of them are judging.
Mortified. Hold on. There has been
Neither
no
of them are
extra.
judging.
More. I need you to be quiet. There has been no extra time that has run off, and he didn't make any extra points, so it doesn't change anything. So just continue with what you were saying.
Oh my gosh, dude. Anyways, even if he gave an AP scale, you know what he didn't do? Connect that to fucking pain. So thank you for that trivial announcement that still means nothing and amounts to nothing in the debate.
I did connect it, but okay.
Oh, you
I
did?
connect it, but okay.
All right, let's waste another 2 minutes, pause my time, and allow him to reiterate to the
Well,
judges
we will.
as to how he
If it
connected
was
to pain.
well, more.
Please,
If
waste
the
my time
point
for it. Why
mortified,
would we do that?
mortified. If the point was made, we'll catch it. If it wasn't, then it's not going to matter. So just continue with what you're saying.
Yeah. I should have done that 5 minutes ago.
Mort, just go.
Anyways, so it's like a butterfly interacting with pain. The AP isn't amounting to a degree in which it hurts him. Also, in accordance with his scaling, right? We went over that pain's weakened, and I addressed that he's assuming that the durability is going to arbitrarily not be lessened. Therefore, it's possible that the durability is lessened. So, even if we were to steel man, which I'm not, that he had the AP to harm pain, it would be that version of pain, which isn't reflective of the version of pain that I'm using. So ultimately, it's just abysmal and ends in a hole, no matter which way you look at it, no matter how you frame the copious framework of Calamity winning so far, it just doesn't work out for him, no matter how you spin it. You could translate it in Greek and spit it in a circle and it won't make a difference because he still hasn't connected it to the version of pain that I'm using. So the AP, out the fucking window. Now, why is this important? This is important because Pain has a win con, the Raikage seemingly does not. He hasn't even established what a win con was. He didn't say that Raikage would chop his head off. He didn't say that he would impale him. He didn't give a win con. So I, on the other hand, am going to actually do that for us all. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is giving a win con. So there's a couple of these here. I'm just going to show all Pain's abilities, right? All right, here we go. Just get a second. So one of these things, right, is going to be Bancho Tenny, right? So I'm gonna be arguing that he just like holds him in place and slowly pulls him in, okay? And then upon slowly pulling him in, right, he can like rip out his fucking soul. So if we take to this path right here, we have the Ninjutsu Kika Genkai Hell path, right? User Nagato. Secret technique that calls forth the King of Hell, ruler of the underworld, who devours the souls of the living. Once a person's soul has been grasped by this power, they're unconditionally stripped of life and die instantly, unable to resist. So I don't think that there's a contradiction in Pain doing this. So it's going to be possible that it just pulls his soul out after like using Bancho Tenning. If we need to quantify the telekinetic force of the Shinra and Bancho Tenning, we'll get to that. If you wanted to argue that he break out of it or that it won't work on him or something of that nature, if you think your LP scale is higher, don't worry, we'll get to his telekinetic AP, which is just quantifying how much he can actually bind using gravity. But until we get to that, the win con is just going to be that this thing is pulling out his soul. Another thing to consider is that there's also not a contradiction in it not being AP dependent. Therefore, it simply could just be this like non-physiological thing that just happens due to spirituality. So he could just have some sort of connectivity with the King of Hell that's being summoned. As of course, it is a Kekkei Genkai, which are like special abilities in Naruto or something like that. So even if we wanted to talk about expected evidence about things that regard abilities and why they ought not work or work, you'd still have to correlate that to specifically Kekkei Genkai, and I don't think that you could do that. I don't think you'd be able to showcase more oftentimes than not that with Kekkei Genkai that they operate under the normative standards that the rest of the things in Naruto do. So with that in consideration, due to its speciality, it simply could be the case that he's able to pull his soul out despite AP, even if I don't quantify that, which I will, but even if I don't, I think he's just going to be able to pull his soul out. So I actually have a win con, my opponent doesn't. So that's one of the first things that I just want to go over. So do you believe it to be the case that there's like a contradiction in the Raikage having his soul pulled out of him?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Or is
address
that-
all
is that-
this, but okay, I'm gonna address all this. So let me speak. So, um, but just for, this guy literally said there's no contradiction with my assertion possibly working. That's complete jargon. But for him saying he just pulls him in, I think from what I've already established in my scaling, he just pulls him in, and the Raikage just Liger bombs him and murks him. I think he would need to go into some sort of speed scaling to prove that he could like pull him in before he just gets fucking no-diffed. If he can pull his soul out faster, then he can just get no-diffed. I would never grant that it's like physically strong enough to pull the Raikage. You need to justify it. Never grant that he's even like fast enough to pull his soul out or move before the Raikage blitzes him. Yeah, I just didn't grant none of these things.
Right, so we're not granting that he's fast enough to do it. I have not asserted that he's fast enough to do anything. I opened up by saying speed in my argument is an irrelevancy if your character cannot blitz my character and vice versa. You seem to not be putting your fucking listening hat on. I don't know why you don't get it. So there's that. Also, you saying that he dodges isn't an interaction with my argument. That's just saying that if it's to be the case that the soul steal is failing because of a lack of contact, not due to a failure that's corresponded to a Naruto-based function, right? It's simply you saying, well, if he's too fast, then he's not going to get his soul stealed. That's not interacting with what I'm saying. I'm saying that if he makes contact with his soul, he ought to be able to pull it out because, well, I'm not going to repeat my argument because F you. You need to track it. So basically, right,
Yeah.
that's not interacting with what I said at all. You're just begging the question that your character hopefully has a superfluous amount of speed to which my character isn't going to be able to interact with your character. You're just holding on to those hopes and prayers. That's not actually an argument as far as we currently get it. You're just saying, hey, if the judges think that I established my speed superior to Pain, then none of this matters. That's all you're saying, and that's not actually interacting with what I'm saying in regards to his soul being stolen. So that's the first fucking win con.
Can I address? Okay, I'm gonna address this now. He's just speaking vacuously, like in a vacuum. Like if we take out all context, all scaling, these are win cons that he could present. I think in a vacuum they would work, but if we actually incorporate scaling or anything, none of these win cons would actually be viable. In the
Now
verse,
you're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself. I don't wait. No, I'm not gonna lie. You're not gonna cut into my time by repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself.
I'm about to bring up something else.
Okay, go ahead.
And bring up something else. Don't repeat yourself.
Okay. I would never grant that the Pain stronger than like whoa. She's strong enough to pull the Raikage.
I didn't say that he was stronger than anyone. I didn't claim that.
These are all the things I'm just putting in the question so that this is actually relevant for the debate. So, I never grant that the gravity is strong enough.
You can't put something into question that I didn't claim, brother. That's not how questioning something works. You can only question things that I've claimed. I didn't claim that he was stronger than him. So you're just shadowboxing.
I'm claiming things that's actually relevant to the debate. So. Okay, do you want to move on with your scaling or? Okay, do you want to move on with your scaling?
You're literally shadowboxing. Thank you for taking into my time for no fucking reason. We appreciated you wasting my time and taking into my fucking time. Right, so I think so he has win cons. He's gonna be able to Bancho Tending, pull his soul out. Yeah, a problem with that. I don't really care if you do. I guess we'll move on. So that's gonna be the win con. All right, so now that we have a fucking win con, we could talk about Pain. So let me see here. I don't know if I have all these scans on hand, but I'm gonna look for it on this. Let me see here.
Sonic above Kage, bro.
Let me see. So we have. I think I'm trying to. Here, some of these scans might not be relevant, but I'm just trying to make sure I got the ones that are relevant. So what we have here is we're going to be creating unexpected evidence for OP-Bs in the series. So when the narrator, who is a form of the author, makes claims regarding basically anything, we're going to have to take to media literacy. And so if we have a consistency of something being referred to as said to be or regarded as, and then it being fulfilled, then I think it builds credence towards the validity of the reputation being upheld. So, for example, we have a couple of things like about Itachi Susanoo, right? And we later on see that these things actually follow through. So, for example, right, it is said that he has the power to anticipate his opponent's movements and see through any jutsu in an instant. So, again, with media literacy, one of the interpretations could dubiously be that this is just a rumor, or if we phrase it how I phrase it, which is more parsimonious, that he simply is using a style of literature that is consistent. So his way of demonstrating that something is potentially true or likely to be true is in regards to, or as said to be. So if there are multiple statements in Naruto, right, it was said that Nagato could manipulate all the basic chakra natures. Is the power of the Rinnegan? Is this the power of the Rinnegan? Excuse me. So again, media literacy, because with the Sasuke example, with the Orochimaru Tosca Blade example, with the Nagato example, with all these examples, the way that the narrator, the author, decides to phrase it in the series is by saying that it is said to be. So when we have a statement using parsimony that says in regards to, or this is said to be, we have reason to believe that it is going to be fulfilled because of this consistency in this form of media. For example, in the Bible, one of the phrases that the authors consistently use is, and so it came to pass. And then they'll have text following that. And this is said throughout the Bible consistently. This is because authors have, forms of artistry. And with this in mind, one of Kishimoto's forms of artistry is to present things in data books or throughout the series through reputation. So just because a reputation's being upheld isn't inherently suggestive of it being falsified if we have reason to believe, which I presented, that there's a consistency in this media style of said to be and regarded as. So with this in mind, one of the things that I want to consider was that someone could get a scan where it says that Gamma Bunta is regarded as the strongest of the summons. I don't think I have that one. I don't think I do. I low-key forgot to grab that one. But yeah, we could pause my time to grab that one. If someone wants to guide me in the direction they can. If someone has it, they could just please drop it.
This would be great for Steven to be here.
Wait, mortified.
Hello.
Yeah.
I got you.
I don't think you need to send that. I think I understand the point you're making with all these scans. So, do you want me to respond to it, or do you want to wait for that scan?
I mean, I think that if you accept that the scan exists and it says that that it says that Enma is regarded as the strongest of the summons, do you acknowledge that the scan exists and that it says that? Because if so, then yeah, I'll allow you to respond. If not, then I'm going to wait for the scan.
No, I know that scan exists. Yeah.
So do you acknowledge that it says that though? That it says that Enma is regarded as the strongest of the summons?
Yeah.
Okay, so when it says that, I think that it's referencing just Konoha summons, and it's not talking about tailed beast, right? It's not because you could particularly, theoretically, even at times summon anything if it has a seal, right? So like there are bindings and like things of this nature that like, oh, I can summon this ninja, right? Like people can like have a seal placed in them, and even they can be summoned, even though they're just a shinobi. Or tailed beast, for example, can also be summoned and things of that nature. That's not what I'm talking about, and I don't think that's what the statement's like talking about. The only thing that we would consider it be talking about are just like it's comparatively speaking to the other summons of Konoha. So more specifically, the argument is trying to say that Enma should inherit Gamabunta scaling. Not that he upscales him, but if he's stronger in him in his bow staff form, it would be contradictory that he's weaker. Therefore, if it's a contradiction that he's weaker while it's being stronger, it ought not follow. So what we'd have to assume is that at bare minimum, with a conservative interpretation, that he can inherit Gamabunta's either stats or something that would give relevance and power or strength. So the bow staff form of Enma should be capable of whatever Gamabunta is capable of, if it is to be the case that he's the stronger summon, which I think is true based on the consistency of reputations being upheld. There it is. An old monkey trusted by the third Raikage may say he's the most powerful of all creatures that can be summoned. There you go, yeah.
Wait, what does stronger mean?
What does stronger mean?
Yeah.
Like in a general sense?
Yeah, in this example.
Physical superiority.
Why?
That's what stronger means in a general sense.
Why?
So back to media literacy again, we're talking about any sort of terminology that we come across. We assume that because they're described as humans, that they also have to poop, and that they have to piss, and that they have to consume food. Even with Hedon, right, he states that he'll die of malnutrition. So there's more evidence suggests that they have to eat food. These things are things that we just assume without actually having evidences for. So with the Hedon thing, there isn't evidence for that. But Naruto taking a dump or people pissing and things of this nature aren't evidence. But we assume that these things follow when interpreting media until there's a present contradiction. So they are described as human beings in Naruto. And so when we talk about strength, whether it's applicable to Shinobi or even Otsutsuki or whatever the matter, the normative assumption of stronger is physical superiority. So index to Naruto, we ought have a reason if we are to additionally assume that stronger has this outside source, obscure, dubious definition, rather than the opposing normative definition, which is stronger, which means physically superior. So if it is to be the case that Enma is physically superior to Gamabunta, then it ought not follow that he's weaker. Therefore, he can inherit his scaling in his bow staff state. That's what I think stronger should mean in Naruto.
How long's left?
He has 13 minutes.
Yeah. So for that statement, you basically just said that we're not going to use these like dubious. We're not going to use these other dubious definitions. We're going to go with the normative definition. I already asked why this is the normative definition, and saying that the other definitions are dubious just presupposes that your one is the case. I already put into the question why this is even the normative definition. So
I don't think that doesn't address my argument. I explained
again,
why it's the normative assumption, and you didn't address that. We can move on from this. So if it's to be the case that the old Monkey King, right?
No, I understand. You just said we can move on. So can I address your other points?
No, I think I have more to say.
Wait,
because of the fact that there's only 13 minutes left.
I have a problem with your like consistency thing.
You could just address that at a later point.
Okay.
So
I think.
Okay, right. So Gamabunta.
Why are you putting it on hold? Like, you made the point. Now you're trying to shift me away from it.
What point in specific? Can you reiterate the claim that I made that you'd like to address? Because if not, I'm not going to lie to address it.
The whole like thing about rumors and stuff.
That doesn't sound nearly close to what I said. Can you be more specific?
I know what you said about the rumors and stuff. Are you just tying this back to Sunny?
Now you're just repeating yourself.
Okay. It's a simple question.
I'm asking. I'm not. Again, if you can't clarify to the audience what you're trying to contend, why should I even allow you?
Okay, I don't need to clarify to the audience. I'm clarifying.
Can you justify why you don't need to?
Well, let's not do that. Yeah. So,
this
what point are you trying to clarify?
I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I know where this is going. Can I just contend like the basis of like the sounding stuff?
Well, I would prefer that we don't bring up points that haven't been made yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
obviously,
everyone knows where this is going.
Because it would be. I mean, it would technically be non sequitur because you don't know if that's where he's going.
We know
yeah,
this
like,
is
what the hell? No, it's not, bro. I haven't mentioned the Sonic once.
Go ahead, bro. Continue. Where does this lead?
Anyway, right. So Gamabunta is relative to Shikaku. And please get scans for this. Where he chops his fucking arm off, and he fights the dude. Part 1.
Do you guys need me to grab a scan for that or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone can. Anyone can. The scan. I think I'm specific enough. He chops his hand off.
Yep.
Any scan that's just their whole fight. Their whole fight. It doesn't have to just be the chopping off shit. Their whole encounter.
Wait, wait, I'm just a clarifying question. Is Anima being used as a connector for the scaling, or is it justifier for the consistency?
Dude, we will get there. You're eating my time. Shut the fuck up.
Your time is paused because I'm grabbing a scan.
Why can I not ask this question?
Dude, you're obfuscating, bro. Shut up. Bro, what the heck?
Wait, because mortified.
If you're not contending the Shikaku shit, zip it.
Okay, I don't need.
Well, hold on, more. Let him. There's no time running right now, so just let him ask whatever he's trying to ask.
Oh my gosh.
Just a clarifying question. So if I need to attack this, it's like he need to like attack the definition of like strongest and all that's kind of like more like specifically for the statement, or just the consistency stuff as a whole. Is this a connector or is this a justifier for the consistency?
I don't feel like answering that question. I just feel like continuing my stuff.
Okay.
So,
what the fuck is this? Like what?
what the fuck is this? I'm not allowed to precog my opponent and interrupt him and
I'm
just
not
ruin the
why am I
argument because I feel like it.
precogging?
Shut the fuck up.
No,
Wait, why am I
more.
pre-cogging
He's
you?
he's
I
he's
already know
a-
where this is going.
more.
So
Hold
I
on,
just want to
more.
cut to the chase
He's
and skip your scaling.
mortified. He's asking, did you use that statement to justify the reputations thing, or did you use that statement to connect your scaling?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
I have
Okay,
the scans in
so-
chat now, by the way.
You're assuming that it's even dichotomous.
They,
Way
they
to go,
posted
Tough Fuck.
they posted backwards,
Not a
but
dichotomy.
you can see what's
It
going on.
doesn't
Not
need to be.
dichotomous. It wasn't
Doesn't need-
dichotomous. Then why would you say that? See, you just interrupt to say trivial dumb shit. So fucking annoying.
Okay, so I posted the scans in chat of him cutting Chicago's arm off. We can continue from there.
Right. Okay. So in Naruto, attributions of AP are given unto weapons at times. Not necessarily always, but at times. So even if we wanted to say that Gamabunta isn't physically capable of doing something like this with his bare hands, I wouldn't need to say that he is in order for it to correspond to Enma in his bow staff form, because the bow staff form is literally also inclusive of being a fucking weapon. So anything that he's able to perform ought to be attributable to what Enma's capable of in his bow staff form at the very least. Right? Enma is going to be fighting at this tail beast level. Okay? Gamabunta fighting at this tail beast level. Do you think? Do you have a problem with Shikaku? Is Shikaku weakened? What's the problem?
Okay, so now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna attack the consistency now. You said I could do this, so let me read this. So for these consistency things, all you're justifying to me is that whenever a rumor is stated, there should be some sort of expected evidence for it to be actually confirmed to be true. You saying it's parsimony thing is not actually interpretation to be thing. All you're saying is that whenever we have rumor statements, they're usually empirics to say this is the case. So, like this is said to be the strongest genjutsu, and then there's a database statement saying this is the strongest genjutsu. Whenever it states, you're just kind of showing that this thing doesn't follow it and could just literally be a rumor, because the thing doesn't have actually any empirics or any sort of justifiers in any database, manga or whatever to actually justify that this is the case. So you're just saying that the justifier for these things being true and not just rumors isn't present on this thing, but it's present in other things, which just basically defeats this whole thing. Can I attack Sage, can I attack the Shikaki thing, or is that
No,
I'm gonna give him a chance to
address that.
respond.
I'm just gonna address
chance to
that. What the
respond.
fuck? Okay, so
You made
that
multiple
is
points.
fucking. That's just retarded. Okay, now we're saying right that because there's no empirical evidence to back up the statement, that it refutes the general expected evidence, which isn't necessarily true. We're saying that if we have a consistency towards reputations being fulfilled, then in his case there ought be a fulfillment towards his reputation. Me not fulfilling that to you physically isn't an argument that refutes the potentiality of its existence. Therefore, it would still follow that we would expect there to be an evidence that fulfills the necessary claim. That's all that I fucking said. You pointing out very trivially, oh well, in Enma, you haven't actually shown anything that's on panel. You also try to say that it's not empiric. Yes, it is empiric. The empiric is this statement that says an old monkey trusted by the third Hokage. That's empirical. Empiricism is derived by sensory detection, dumb fuck. So if I can see it with my eyes, that makes it empiric. I'm physically interacting with it by seeing it, right? My epistemology is being put forward and used.
Okay, I understand.
Therefore, right, yeah, so it's empiric. The author writing something down is an empiric evidence. That is a form of evidence. Kishimoto is telling the audience that we have reason to respect or believe this reputation because it's put in the series. If it's to be the case that he decided to misinform his audience, then we would just say that it'd be too dubious to incorporate into any interpretation. Because of the consistency that we have.
Really quick, you have 8
Kishimoto's
minutes.
goalpost is to inform to inform his audience, right?
Can I ask you a clarifying question?
Again,
Just say
that is a form of empirical evidence, and
This is
saying that I
repeating
don't
itself.
have an additional evidence doesn't refute what I'm saying about the potentiality in regards to the plausibility of the evidence being fulfilled. So we have more reason to assume that the evidence exists and that it's credible, as opposed to doubting it, which is the entirety of my point in regards to the Enma scaling. Now, even if you wanted to disconnect Enma, which I'm not going to allow or accept or doing, but hypothetically, if I were to steelman it, Pain still directly scales to Enma by Shinra tensing every bone in his body with a one-shot. Okay?
Shikaki, you mean?
No.
I mean,
Gamabunta? He doesn't fight Enma.
Gamabunta.
Yeah, you said
exactly.
yeah
Doesn't-
you
he
said
doesn't
you
fight
said
Enma.
Enma. Yeah, that's why he
Yeah,
asked.
so Gamabunta, yeah. So he still scales directly to Gamabunta, even if you wanted to cut out Enma. Okay? Because the Enma point is for a different point. I just brought it up in regards to the consistency of regarded as, which we'll get to, but it also served purpose for a different line of scaling. I can simultaneously scale multiple lines of scaling if I so choose to. That is a sonic scale that you were trying to precog so hard. That's where Enma comes into play.
This is
Since
insane
you
rambling.
moaned about it so bad,
It's his time.
and whined and cried, okay, right? We decided to say, okay, let's take an easier route. So Pain one-shots a character and breaks all the bones in his body, and that character is relative to Tailed Beast. Do you have a problem with that?
Yeah, of course I do. So I'm going to respond to all of it. You're not going to cut me off. So for the Enma point, the empirical thing is like the claim that he's like stated, he's like rumored to be this thing. This is like a normative claim, which we need some sort of justifier for. It being empirically claimed is not like, that's not actually a response. So what I meant by that, you need some empirical evidence to back up this claim. So whenever a rumor is stated to be a thing, all you've proven is that there is some sort of external empirical evidence to justify this sort of thing. And then this is just a yes or no question. Like if you talk more than this, then I'd ask for him to just cut you off. But is this like a necessary thing? Like, is this a necessary thing whenever a rumor is stated to be a thing, it has to be backed up? Just a yes or no?
I never claimed anything about necessity.
yes or no.
This is
It's
form of
just yes
expected
or no.
evidence based on
It's
what
just
we're
yes
going
or
to
no.
expect.
It's literally just a yes or no.
I'm not obligated with being put in any dichotomy that you wish. In fact, I would like to just
Okay.
hurry it up so I can continue.
Okay, I asked for a yes or no.
You're cutting into my time. You're cutting into my time. Can you make it quicker, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Calamity.
All right. It's pretty simple. It's just a yes or no. So from what I got from that, it's not a necessity. So, X can be Q. So like if X then Q, but then also if X, it can also be like Y or something. There's no actual justifiers for if X is Y, even though it's expected. So I wouldn't actually propose it. And saying it's things that we don't actually know about, I think is just like kind of redundant. So for him scaling to Shikaku, I would need some sort of evidence for why like Gamabunta's slicing would be weaker than Enma's like punching or like it's like staff hits or whatever. Gamabunta can be stronger in terms of like slicing or whatever. And then he can like lose in like an arm wrestle or something to Enma, but as well, Shikaku takes one air bullet and he says if he takes another air bullet he's gonna die. It's the exact same for Pain. He actually takes the Shinra Tensei. He doesn't die from it, so we could just apply the same thing. Gamabunta was like really weakened by one single attack, and he would have died to another attack. He would have. Wait, Sage, can you send the air bullet thing? The sound bullet or whatever. He's just gonna die if he takes another one.
Yeah, I'll pause this while I grab that.
Bro, I don't see what this bro, you're cutting into my time to make claims when it's my turn to assert. This is ridiculous. I didn't make.
Well, hold on. More. I have it.
Bullshit.
More. Really quick. I have it paused while I'm looking for this scan. So just go on.
Okay. Let me respond.
Okay, that's not. You had it paused while you're looking for the scan. You didn't have it paused when he's making multiple arguments, right? That's not what happened.
I was responding to responding to your arguments.
No. You just made new arguments, right? Now you're giving an argument about the water bullets, which is not an argument that I made. So you're refuting my claims by making your own arguments. So just cutting into my fucking time. Fuck that shit.
I'm refuting your claim that Gamabunta scales as Shikaku.
No, you're not. I told you earlier that it could be the case that it's attributing to his sword, right? And we went over the bow staff stuff. So everything you went up, this tangent about him arm wrestling Enma was completely non sequitur. That's an absolute red herring, just shadow box.
Okay. I don't think this is responsible.
That was entirely a shadow box, bro. You didn't even hear what the fuck I said about the sword.
Okay,
we literally went over the fact that Gamabunta could not be attributed in his AP based on his physicality. We literally went over this. I literally said that already, right?
Yeah,
Anywho, okay.
Okay, tell me when the time's on and I'll respond to the rest.
I got you. I will let because that was a new point. The like you addressing him, not because you are addressing his point by saying that you don't think that he necessarily scales to Shukaku because he's like taking this damage, can't take much more. That is a new point, so I do think it's fair for him to be able to address that. But you will get an opportunity to address everything else.
Yeah, I just need to finish it and then he can respond to the Shikaku thing. I'm not because he made like other disagreements with it, so I'm just gonna post it and then he can respond to all of it. How long's left, by the way?
Just under 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, can I use my time, or is it gonna be all taken from me? Because I'll just concede if it's gonna be taken from me. Because I don't have a chance.
Well,
of
it's
winning.
not
I
gonna
can't
be.
fucking
It's not gonna be
talk
taken
if you're
from
just
you.
gonna make
We're
fucking
because we're not gonna
arguments while
have.
it's my turn to fucking
There,
speak. It's super
we're not
fucking
gonna
simple.
have people like
All right, so it's gonna be
repeating
all right, so
specific things.
okay, so it's stated. All right, so again, it's stated that the
Wait.
Excuse me. It's stated that
Well-
the Sonic
why
fighter.
Well, hold on,
Come on,
hold on,
Goku
more,
does not-
more. 1 second, more. You got. So we're gonna let him finish his response to what you said.
Point. I'm just dropping the Shikaku point. I'm just dropping the Shikaku point. So it's stated that the Sonic fight Hokage level. Okay, so someone send that.
It says what?
And then Jiraiya is
What did you-
able to,
what did you say?
and then Pain's able to dodge like
did you
Jiraiya's
say?
fastest
He said-
attack, right? So this data book statement that says Line Main Jitsu is the fast attack, right? So
I
that
don't know
Pain's
what
able
you
to
said.
dodge that while it's holding back.
Well, hold on, more. 1 second. He said he wants to clarify your first point. He said that
What did you say about Jiraiya?
He said the Sannin are 5 Kage level. That's what he was.
Yeah, the Sonic are
the
stated to,
reverse statements.
yeah, they're
I think
they're stated to be the Hokage level. So yeah,
Send the statements.
Let's
If these are
drop
reverse
it.
statements, I think I already addressed them.
no, it's not as simple as just being a Ruber statement. The reason that there's credence towards it being the case they would operate at this level is multitudes of reasons. For one, the three of them have Hokage canonicity. So when we talk about who's going to be a Kage of a village, the shinobi of their village determine this based on their eligibility, which is attributable to their physicality. In fact, it's not just attributable, it's almost necessarily corresponding. It has to follow that you are the strongest or one of the strongest in order to even become the Kage of your village to serve a means of protecting it and upholding the hierarchy system. If it ought follow that anyone could just bureaucratically come into power and they could just be dethroned via coup or things of this nature, which is why we preventative methodology of the safety, or excuse me, the preventative methodology to ensure safety is done onto by putting the strongest person in power in that position. So Orochimaru was a Hokage candidate for the 4th Hokage, and then Tsunade and Jiraiya were both candidates for the 5th Hokage, and then Tsunade literally was a fucking Hokage. So I think this leads credence towards them actually operating at this level. Not only this, but we also have Orochimaru, who's a Sannin, joining the Akatsuki, and the Akatsuki are stated to combatant tail beast, right? So necessarily it's their purpose, not just a statement in the data book, but it's their implicit purpose in the narrative is to hunt and fight tail beast. So even if you wanted to say that they're doing this via hacks or weapons and they don't actually physically scale to the tailed beast exactly in terms of taijutsu, that's fine, but they don't need to operate in terms of taijutsu to have a general scale. Like if Orochimaru, for example, can use his Kusanagi blade to impale Enma, who scales above Gamabunta, or impale a potential tail beast, or at least slash them or something and hurt them, he could have these types of methodologies to put them down without actually scaling to them in taijutsu. So that's one Sannin who is in the Akatsuki, which means he qualifies because the Akatsuki are, attributed by strength as well. Their purpose is to fight tail beast. So if they lack the capacity to beat a tail beast in a 2v1, then they ought not be followed as an acceptant in the group because of their lack of power. Therefore, Orochimaru fulfills the necessary requirement or the likely necessary requirement in order for him to be an Akatsuki member. So Orochimaru is fighting at this Akatsuki level. The Akatsuki also have multitudes of members that fight Kage. Orochimaru literally fights Hiruzen and kills him. He also fights a Kazekage and kills him. Sasori fights a 3rd Kazekage and kills him, right? You know what I'm saying? Pain pulls up on Fugaku and kills him. We have a consistency for them fighting at a Kage level. So he's in a group that fights at Kage level, that fights at Tailed Beast level. Tailed Beasts are also consistently subdued by their Kage, like the Cloud Village or any other village where they just have to like deal with their tailed beast. They have the Kage do it, right? So there's a preponderance of evidence to suggest that there's credence towards this rumor statement because there are literally Kage, or they fight Kage, or they fight people that scale to Kage, and they're all Hokage candidates. So I think it's more than enough reasons to believe they operate at that level. And then Pain's able to dodge Jiraiya's attack, which is the fastest attack. If someone could send the data book statement of that, where it says the line main jutsu is his fastest attack, and then if someone could send a scan where Pain dodges it. So if he's
You
able to
got
dodge
2 minutes
Jiraiya's
left, by the
fast
way.
attack,
I'm gonna
Pain's
grab
able to
this
dodge
scan
Jiraiya's
really
fast
quick.
attack, then
Yeah, sorry. I'm
if
gonna
Pain's
grab
able
this
to
scan.
dodge, if Pain's able to dodge Jiraiya's fastest attack, then I think he could dodge anything that Raikage has coming for him. If it's to be the case that the Raikage is a Gokage, which he is, therefore I'll follow that even if he was using V2, he's not going to be able to blitz him because he's not able to blitz the Sonic. If it followed that he had the AP capacity to hurt the Sonic and had the capacity to blitz him, then it'd be unlikely that he'd actually be in reference as relativity, right? So if it is to be the case that he has the AP to harm them, but has no capacity to blitz them, then it all follow that he can't blitz them. Because if he could, then he wouldn't be relative to the other Hokage or relative to the Sonic. So in order to not derive a contradictory based interpretation, we could just say that it ought follow that the Raikage is not able to blitz Jiraiya. If you want to attribute that to Sage Mode, that's fine, but the interaction with Pain is Sage Mode anyway. So he's literally able to deal with Sage Mode Jiraiya using a white line main jutsu, and despite this, he's still able to dodge it. If it's to be the case that it's his fast attack, which is what's stated, then it would scale back to whatever the Sonic are capable of, because just like the Gokage, the Sonic are stated multiple times to be relative. Anyone can send scans for that. There's tons of scans, there's databook scans, tons of scans of the Sonic being called relative. So the Sonic have this immense relativity narratively. There's databook statements, there's Ebisu saying it takes a Sonic to take on a Sonic, things of this nature. There's multiple instances, tons and tons of instances where the Sonic are described and depicted and shown to be relative. There's literally a three-way deadlock where they're all nerfed and they're still relative. So there's a great preponderance of them being relative. So if they're relative to each other, this also means that even if Jiraiya has the fastest attack, that attack is also implausibly able to blitz the other Sonic. So if Pain can dodge that, then that would mean that Pain is able to scale above the Sonic who are relative to the Gokage. So if he doesn't get blitzed by the Raikage, which is just my entirety of the argument from the beginning of the debate, then I think it would follow that he's able to just like pull a soul out if he's not getting blitzed by him. If he's just capable to tap him on the head, he'd be able to pull a soul out.
Okay.
And then the quantification of the Bancho, real quick. The quantification of the Bancho tanning, one of the things that I also wanted to go over real quick was based off him being able to break the bones in Gamabunta's body. So even if he doesn't actually backscale to Emma, that's fine. The only thing that Emma was purposed with doing was showcasing that Orochimaru had an AP that would be relative to that summon, who could potentially be relative to the other summons, which just is more credence towards Pain upscaling all that via scaling above the sun. He also beat Orochimaru off screen, so there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he scales to these people.
Okay,
I
so
don't know how none of that fell under like the no shocking rule, but okay.
well, that I leave it up to the people in the debate to call out shotguns.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's definitely shotgunning. So I'm going to address the ones I remember because he blitzed out like 1,000 points, and I'm just
I don't think
gonna
that
call it shotgunning there, so-
doesn't dismiss the other claims. You can refute all the claims you want. Write them down next time. It's not my problem.
I don't think I need to. So I'm not
I
obliged
mean,
to. do
you
any of
saying
these
you don't
things, so-
think you need to? Can you justify why it's a shotgun and justify why you think you
Okay,
don't
I'm
need
gonna-
to? Please.
Okay, you made multiple points at once by definition of shotgun, so I'm going to respond to all your points.
No, it's not. That's not how you define a shotgun. A
Okay, I'm
shotgun is when you
responding-
make
I'm
multiple
responding to your point,
arguments.
right?
No,
can
that's
stop
not a
right there.
shotgun, right? No, I'm contesting whether or not it's a shotgun. A shotgun is when you make multitudes of arguments, right?
Wait,
That's not what I did.
By the way,
Making multiple points wouldn't
if you don't stop
necessitate
rambling,
a
I'm gonna
shotgun.
mute him and just keep talking.
Okay,
That's a bad idea.
so he's contesting the idea that it's a shotgun.
Yeah, he made multiple arguments in one faucet.
What? Okay, now you just that's a performative contradiction. You said that I made multiple points, and now you're hedging and changing your definition. So you're just performing a logical fallacy to
It's
justify
not
why I'm
a-
shotgunning.
wait, that-
Yes, it
I
is. It's a
just use
logical
them
fallacy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I
Yes, it
just
is.
use
Yes,
them
it is. Yes, it is.
anonymously.
Points are not synonymous to arguments. They are definitionally two different things. They're not
Okay,
the same.
well, I just use them synonymously, so.
You want me to prove
Okay.
that? Bet.
I don't,
I'll
say, I don't
prove
care
that.
what you say the definitions are.
No,
I could just use them synonymously.
That's an argument from incongruity. You saying that you don't have a care for what I'm saying doesn't absolve the validity of what I'm saying. So nice, another
No, because,
fallacy.
like,
First you
even if I
hedge,
could talk-
now you're committing
even
an
if I-
argument from
Okay,
incongruity.
so-
nice. Double
So
fallacy,
here,
bro.
guys. So here's the thing: the 30 minutes is up. So,
So I just don't get a response.
so he had the scale that he just put together. There was a primary point. If you need him to clarify it, like I said before, you can have him clarify it. And then, or there was a primary argument as far as I was tracking, and then a few supporting points to put to support that argument. If you want to, technically the last thing that was talked about was whether or not it was a shotgun. But because it was still going over that same point, you're more than welcome to contest the point itself, or you're more than welcome to contest or like debate with him about whether or not it's a shotgun. It's entirely up to you.
Okay. I'm just gonna address the entire point as a whole, not necessarily a shotgun. So
Okay.
he made like loads and loads of stuff, so it might be a little lengthy, but for the Hokage thing doesn't need to be like everyone's around the general same level. We know that Kakashi knows that he's gonna get notified by Orochimaru.
Not
yet
what I
he's
said.
Anyway, he's still a Kage. He's still like a Kage like candidate. That's not really relevant. They could go into stuff like wisdom or like reputation or whatever. The Ebisu statements literally contradicted. He gets notified by Pain. He's clearly not the strongest. The Sani scaling to each other, I think that's contradictory to everything that like we actually see. Shinade stated slower than the Raikage. She's also far less durable. I think Gamabunta probably got weaker over the time skip. He's shown to be a lot smaller, worse feats, whatever. Them scaling to Biju, I think that's probably contradicted. They could probably wait. Oshi, you're what's it echoing? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so good luck
further- I'm not
justifying
done.
that
I'm not
Tsunade is
done. I'm
weaker
not done.
than
I'm not
the
done.
Raikage.
Okay, I'm not done. I'm not
Like
done.
it's almost like we have to continue the debate, which
Sage,
is
I'm
not
not-
what we're doing.
wait.
So
Sage, can
how
I-
does
Well,
this
hey,
work? Is he
Mark.
gonna
Well,
contend what I
Mark.
say, and I'm supposed to contend what he says?
Yeah.
Go
So
overtime? It
so
seems
like
we're
like
not
I
making
like I
it done.
said. Well, hold on. So like I said prior, the for whatever the last point is that we were on, you guys both get 2 opportunities to go over that again, and then the debate's done. And then you guys both have closing statements, but obviously we can't bring up anything new in closing statements. So this is his opportunity.
If I wait, let me clarify. If I lag out, that means my power went out and I can't come back on. So
Okay, well, let's try to fly through it really quick then.
yeah, I'm just gonna blitz this out really quick. So, I think Gambit to get smaller. He's visibly shown to get smaller. I don't see a correlation in strength. I don't know why that would matter. I don't think the threshold for the Kages could be different. Them going to Biju, I disagree with. One person is not a consistency. They seem to be shocked whenever Kurama pulls up. It's not some sort of consistent thing. The threshold for Gokage could definitely be different. I don't see an issue with any of this. The Akatsuki could outlast or just use some like mysterious Journeg stuff to just get rid of the Biju, absorb the chakra, whatever. I don't think they need to be on Biju level. The Hokage are definitely not like Biju level or whatever. What's he called? Minato dies to Kurama. Like, pretty obviously. Let me see. Wait, let me see the rest of it. Oh yeah, I don't think Jiraiya scales to pain. I think Jiraiya's above pain. He takes on all 6 at once and survives. He's able to kill one while taking on all 6 at once. Pain states himself that he was difficult and that if he knew his secret, he would have won. So yeah, I just agree with all of that.
Okay, so that was the first
Right,
one. So more.
he
So
just
really
made a
quick,
claim.
just to
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So more.
Oh
You
my
get to go.
goodness.
Well, really quick. So you get to go, and then he gets to go, and then you get to go, and then we have closing statements. Just to be clear.
Right. Okay. So for the Ebisu thing, that doesn't actually exonerate the statement, right? It simply could be the case that part of it is false while part of it is true. So if I were to say that 2 + 2 = 4 and then say 8 + 8 = 15, that wouldn't absolve the validity of 2 + 2 = 4. Therefore, there's still validity in my claim, despite part of it failing to amount to suchness. So if it's to be the case that he thinks Jiraiya is the strongest, then he's not the strongest. That doesn't mean that what he says about it takes a Sonic to beat another Sonic isn't true. Just because there are other people that have the capacity to beat a Sonic doesn't change the fact that it would take a Sonic to beat a Sonic, because he's not saying that solely Sonic can beat other Sonic. He was saying that it takes a Sonic to beat a Sonic. So those 2 things and those 2 interpretations of it could coexist. So it's not a response to anything that I'm arguing about the Ebisu point. When you talk about the Akatsuki, that's not necessarily applicable. I want you to prove that every Akatsuki member has the capacity to absorb chakra. I don't believe it to be the case that's true. The only one that I accept that can do that is literally Pain and Kisame. Despite that, there's other people that seemingly do not have those abilities, right? So you'd have to explain why they're also enlisted in the Akatsuki with the narrative and implicit demonstrated purpose to fight these tail beasts. When we talk about whatever they're capable of, the biggest factor that we take in consideration is speed, which is all I care about. We're not arguing that they have physical AP. If you were putting on your listening hat and tracking, you would know this, but you seemingly weren't tracking because you're a freaking retard. But yeah, I would follow that. I said that what they're going to be doing is having a relative speed, not AP. I never even once said that the Akatsuki can like arm wrestle the tail beast or something like that. That's an irrelevancy. We're talking about a general combative sense, which is going to be attributable via speed, skill, and their weaponry, and the AP of their weapons or the hacks capacity of their hacks, rather than their physical demonstrable abilities, right? Those things are not as important. We're not talking about lifting strength. We're not talking about their bodily autonomy. I never brought that up. So you're just like, again, shadowboxing per usual. Not shadowboxing. For the Jiraiya thing, just because he fights all 6 paths of pains, I don't see why that necessitates him being stronger. Yeah, he fought 6 paths of pain. He lost. He killed some of the paths of pain and he lost. Why would that necessitate him being stronger if he fucking lost? Because he took out some of the paths of pain. Him saying that he could beat them one-on-one, if you wanted to argue that, also wouldn't fucking help, because my character's going to jump your character. I have all 6 paths of pain and they're all deployable simultaneously in synchrony. I don't have to have him be in a one-on-one example or create this scenario in which you can fight him. Also, via standard battle assumptions with the SBW, which is what we're operating under with the rules, you're not given this sort of environment where Jiraiya has the capacity to hide and do sneak attacks and all this bullshit. We're literally going to be fighting in an empty void room with a playing field. There are no trees. There is nothing for your character to hide from pain from. He's going to see where he's at the entirety of the time. There's no room for a fucking sneak attack. It's literally a 6v1 scenario where your character could potentially see Nagato. I'll give you that. He could like look out into the distance and see Nagato sitting in his fucking chair. But beyond this, it's going to be a white vacuous void like Final Destination. You're not just going to be given all these sort of circumstantial obstacles that Jiraiya had to enable suchness. So even upon examining that he was able to take out paths of pain, you're ignoring the circumstances that are clearly going to be applicable towards that happening. Also, nothing you said interacted with what I said about without hit being the fastest attack, nor did you interact with the fast attack being superfluous or equal to the other Sonic. So it would still be the case that Pain is faster, or at least relative at worst to the Sonic, who are going to be relative to the Okage, which is something that you also didn't address, and you can address it because you only have one time to say something. But even if you say something, I'm just going to refute it with my time to refute it. So you basically lost that point. Good luck trying to win that point. It's not going to happen based on the way the debate's formatted now. It sucks to be you. And beyond this, when we talk about Gamabuta shrinking, I don't see why it can't be the case that Gamabuta can shrink and simultaneously retain his strength. If it's to be the case that you haven't provided evidence that he's lost any sort of chakra, that it's to be the case that he has more chakra. If it's to be the case that he has more chakra, then it would be quantifiably the case that he's more dense. Density is also going to be a determinant of power at times in fiction. If you're to, for example, collect a bunch of chakra and put it in a condensed environment, we see that's how they amplify, their blades with wind style and things of this nature, is by amplifying chakra and having it resonate in a specific area of space. So if Gamabunta hasn't lost any of his chakra, then he might just become more of an dense opponent. So it's actually possible that he got stronger in terms of his bodily autonomy, because his body could just simply be more dense despite the fact that he's shrunk. So you're just assuming that he got weaker because he's shrunk. You haven't given an argument or an evidence for that. You're just assuming that to be true. Also, right, you've yet to contest my win con. The only attempt that you said was that, the Raikage would blitz and he was just too fast. You never negated it, so it would still go through that he's able to. That's definitely not. It would still go through that he's able to steal. So I just felt like that's not off point. That's definitely not pointing something out. And for the Hokage canonicity thing, you're assuming that I argued that the threshold is equivocal when I never said that. I never said that what it takes to be the Cloud Village's Kage is equivocal to what it takes to be the Hokage. That's not what I said. What I said was that in terms of canonicity for Konoha, right, there's an expectancy for the threshold. So when you bring up someone like Kakashi, it ought follow that he was a candidate, but he wasn't the top priority candidate. He was the candidate if it ought follow that Tsunade and Jiraiya were unwilling, because Jiraiya was initially unwilling, and Jiraiya was the person that was in the village, whereas Orochimaru and Tsunade were departed from the village. So when Jiraiya came back, he was the best option. But if it all followed that they didn't have a Sannin, then they resort to someone like Kakashi, which wouldn't change what I'm saying. It would just simply follow that Kakashi would be one of the weaker Kage that we've ever seen, because he was the most reliable at that time if the Sannin were exonerated, which ultimately they weren't, because they ended up choosing Tsunade because Jiraiya managed to convince her to be a shinobi again and come back to the village and yada yada, stop drinking, whatever. So yet again, that would just be an example of there being an expectancy and a threshold. I never once argued that they're all equivocated. So you pointing out that Kakashi's weaker than the Raikage or some shit isn't sequitur to what I'm saying about the expectancy towards the characters meeting the fulfillment, which is being at the Hokage level. I gave multiple other arguments that you also didn't address as to why they'd be at Hokage level in terms of speed or some sort of attack potency or hacks, not their general bodily autonomy or physiology. Orochimaru doesn't need to arm wrestle Enma. He doesn't need to arm wrestle Tail Beast in order to scale to them in some degree. We literally see that Enma is crying and bitching and moaning when he's getting slashed by the Kusanagi blade and says, I can't keep this up anymore, when he's in his bow staff form, which to upscale his physical form, because his physical form gets impaled, right? So with all that in mind, okay, it would still follow that there is an expectancy and a threshold, even if it's not neutrally equivocated, which I never argued. I never said it's equal in the Cloud Village, is equal to the Sound Village and equal to everybody. No. I've never said that. I just said that the Sani are meeting their reputation. And another thing too, it's also stated, if someone wants to send that, Obito tells Pain that Jiraiya lived up to his reputation. By going sub-relative with Pain, because he was able to take out some of the past of Pain. It's stated by the author that he lived up to his reputation. So there's a great preponderance of evidence suggests that the Sannin are actually cold and that they live up to their hype. You want to respond now?
Sure. Do I get a response? Then he gets to respond what I say, and then that's it.
Yes,
I'm not asking you, Sage.
that's what he said.
I don't know where Sage is.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, he can do that. But if there's any new arguments that are brought up, I'm going to give you guys one chance to rebut those. So please just try to stay on the points that we're on right now.
Sure.
But yeah.
Okay. In respond to all of this, so none of this actually connected to the Hokage. If you want to say that they're like very low end relative to the Hokage, I think that people being like nominated via circumstance or whatever, that actually just kind of like defeats what you're saying. The same way, like if everyone except like two babies were like dead in the village, they would nominate like one baby who's like stronger than the next. And then for this one, you could say they could be like the low end or like the weakest Kage. That could literally be the exact same thing for the for the Sannin. And then for what you said about the Akatsuki, you saying could be on the assertive just kind of defeats your whole thing, because you could just go equal interpretation. You have no actual credence to what you're saying. You're saying, oh, but they have this reputation to combat them, but I could say they can just combat them by running them out of chakra or doing these other things. For what's it called?
I just that already.
Hey, give me a second. I'm looking at the scan. Oh yeah, I would just question like this is at a distance. I'm pretty sure, and then I would be agnostic on why they would scale close range, especially if you agree he's able to take them out. And then for the what's it called, the statement of Obito, I would just say that Obito could literally just be taunting him or like not know any sort of. I don't know why he would know the Raikage's like speed or strength or anything like that. He could just be saying, "Oh, the Raikage is like super strong" or whatever.
Wait, who?
People can have these sort of titles, but people have different
Wait,
opinions.
hold on. I didn't hear it. Who said? Who's the one? Who you saying could be just yapping?
Are you talking
character?
about the Obito statement saying that he could
Ebisu?
like, use up his reputation?
Obito. Obito. All right. I just wanted to
you know
clarify. I was like, what the hell? No, I'm not retracting. I was asking for clarification.
No, I know.
I'm saying what character you're talking about.
I'm just saying, is you talking about the Obito statement?
That was one of the statements I gave. That's not the only one I gave.
Okay. For like the 2+2 is 4 thing, that's not. I wasn't saying that Jiraiya was the strongest or anything. I'm saying that this guy's saying, oh, only Asani could take on the Sani. Like, obviously, the dude fucking lost to Pain, so that's not true. It's just some sort of knowledge statement.
I responded to that already.
Okay, I'd prefer not to be cut off, but like, even with these reputation, people can make these like different opinions or whatever. I don't think it's really relevant. Have you read? Wait, this is for clarification. More, have you watched like the One Piece fan letter? Like
no. Relevant? What?
Oh yeah. It's like basically it's like even with like Mihawk's title or strongest swordsman, people are like debating this sort of thing. They're debating if like 3 times if Zoro would be above Mihawk. People are saying Zoro would be above Mihawk. People can just be like blank. Okay, people can just be like people can just be very blatantly wrong about titles, even if some people think this is true or it is general truth. People can make these sort of statements on rumors.
Mort, let him just finish what he's saying, Mort.
Yeah, people can make these sort of statements on rumors that are not actually true or like very, very far from true. If I don't think this is wrong. What else did you say? Oh yeah, the Gamabunta thing. Saying he could be stronger, that could just go equal interpretation. You could never backscale him into this other one. I'm saying in smaller, just pointing out characteristics of characteristics of Gamabunta that have changed over the time skip, so I could question why could this not extend to these other things. You saying that he could have got stronger or whatever, that's just equal interpretation. Even if I justify the one characteristic has changed, I think I could probably extend that out to these other things. Yeah, you never really addressed much. So if you want to give a response to that, that's fine. But I don't think you think I responded.
Yeah, obviously, shut the fuck up, retard. Anyway, so my opponent tried to say that in the One Piece community, there are helmet head people who are on the short bus, and they think that Zoro is stronger than Mihawk.
Wait, it's not the community. It's stated otherwise. It's an inverse statement.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me.
No, I'm just clarifying it.
Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Please be quiet.
Well,
Please be quiet.
mortified. Mortified. Well, he just said he.
Stop interrupting me.
Well, yeah, he was just mortified. Hold on. He was just saying he was clarifying that it was an inverse statement. That's all he was saying.
Right. So that within the One Piece community, for One Piece inverse, there's a data book statement that says
literally in the verse.
Anyways. In the One Piece universe,
it's not like random retards that didn't read the series. It's people in the fucking verse.
Yeah, that's you guys are just getting mixed up on the term One Piece community. So whenever, hold on,
in the series,
yeah, there we go.
There can be characters, right, that doubt suchness. That doesn't that doesn't absolve it from being true. That's just saying that in the series, depending on the knowledge that they possess, that their information can be lackluster. But when we're receiving information from the author, it inherently has hierarchy over characters, especially if it's in the form of a data book. The purpose of a data book is to inform the audience. In fact, Oda even says in SBS, if you'd like to learn more about the series, you can check out the Viva cards and data books. He doesn't say, if you like to confuse yourself and create ratty, contentious BS because I suck at debating. No, it's to inform the audience. It's not meant to confuse anybody. So you can have characters that are uttering BS, and that's not going to be as powerful as the author providing a informative statement to his audience with the intended purpose to educate the fucking audience. Okay? So I don't care if there are characters in One Piece that doubt the validity of Mihawk's claim. There can be cannon fodder in Naruto that doubt the validity of Jiraiya's claim. But we consider knowledge claims based on the verifiable knowledge that the character can possess. For example, if I had a hypothetical statement that said the Raikage is butt cheeks and he scales below pain, and he's a random background character, Calamity has every right and reason, hypothetically, to put that into question and ask Mortified, what does that character know? Why does that character know what they're talking about? But if the author makes a claim in a data book with a different purpose, then it ought follow that there's an inherent hierarchy in the value of his words because they have a different purpose, and there's not a single fictional character in Naruto that has more knowledge on Naruto than the author of Naruto. It'd be absurd to assume that a background character, fodder fuck, who's questioning the Sonic's reputation or questioning so-and-so's reputation, has more credence and information providable to the audience on the series as Kishimoto. He is the author. So that, to me, very handily refutes this idea that we are just gonna, absolve all validity of a claim if some random fodder doubts it. Well, I'm not gonna take that into consideration because we have, on the contrary, the author telling us this thing. So that's why I don't think that you saying that, oh, there's this character in One Piece that thinks Zoro could really beat Mihawk. That doesn't matter. Why does that character know more than Erichio Oda? Question mark?
Dude, like
Didn't think so. I don't think he does. I'm still speaking. You're not allowed a chance to respond, bitch. Why are you responding? You don't have a chance. When I'm done
You're
speaking,
making
it's
these
over.
sort of claims. I'm
not
giving you a
making
response
new
to your
claims.
question.
I'm not making new claims.
No, I know you're not. You're posing these questions. Like, why would they
Why
do
is
this
it
thing?
interrupting me?
I'm saying
Drone,
it'd be
drone,
sort of
drone,
like,
drone, 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 drone,
to
drone,
give these
drone,
sort of
drone.
debate. Like,
All right, all right, all right. Hold on. Stop,
Bro,
stop, stop, stop,
interrupting me.
stop,
Why is
stop,
it
stop,
interrupting me?
stop. Yeah,
Almost
just
finished,
let
almost
him. Yeah. So, well, you asked a question. He was responding to the question. I think it was a hypothetical.
Rhetorical.
Yeah, it was a
It's like
rhetorical question.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like fucking
it's not
idiot.
rhetorical because I had an answer to
Get
it.
it? How are you gonna tell me what's not rhetorical? What?
Okay.
Do you think that you have the capacity to determine what's more rhetorical if I'm the one imploring it and telling the audience that it's for rhetorical purposes? Do you really think that you're a psychic that can read my mind and has more of a informative explanation as to why I'm doing such as opposed to myself? Are you being that dubious? Please be quiet. Please be quiet. I've just told you I'm an adult. I'm 24 years old. Do you think I'm gonna lie about the fact that it's a rhetorical question? I'm not. No. The judge is also just explaining to you that it's rhetorical. So please be quiet.
All right, let's just finish what you were saying.
Anyways, so the author is infinitely more reliable than a random background character casting doubt. Okay? So that is why when we are using media literacy and invoking parsimony on our examination of Naruto from a holistic approach, we see that throughout the entirety of it, Kishimoto is infinitely more reliable than characters that he created that have limited amounts of information. Because, as I said, knowledge claims are contingent on the information possessed, which is why I said if a random guy said that Raikage sucks, he could easily put that into question. But Calamity can't do that when it's the effing author of the series telling us that the characters operate at this level, which is what he says in the data book multiple times about the Sonic. Okay, so it's also stated with you about the Akatsuki too. That's also a data book statement. It's the author just telling us they fight tailed beasts. They have to fight at this level in order to capture them, right? So they have to literally capture the tailed beast without killing them, because as I told you earlier in the debate, if they kill them, then they have to wait for them to respawn into the world, which derails their plan. So they have to have the capacity to interact with these beasts and successfully capture them without killing them, which is why we were saying that they're having a relativity in speed. So what you're doing about, oh, well, I don't know that they could win an arm wrestling match, or I don't know that Orochimaru could beat up a tailed beast with his bare hands, or Taijutsu, you're shadowboxing. You're not interacting with my argument. You're just punching ghosts and fucking shadowboxing. So that's not responding to anything that I said. He also didn't respond to multiple things that I said, which is unfortunate, and it has to be left up to the judges to track everything that was said. And I apologize for the way this debate was formatted. I'm very prone to being distracted. You have to deal with speed on all account. Then you have to deal with calamity, and have to deal with all these things that are happening. So I apologize for that, and I thank everybody for listening on stream. Shout out to anyone that's participating in Sage's event. Shout out to all the debaters who showed up. Thank Calamity for showing up. I'm very glad that I was able to show up. And I don't think that there's anything else that I really have to respond to. But in case there is, I'm going to take about 10, 15 seconds to really think about it here. I'm not too sure that there's anything else that I would need to say that's also not a new argument.
Sage,
Oh
run
yeah,
the polls.
I have a win con. He doesn't. So yeah, we can. I think we can end here, yo.
What did you say, Calamity?
Thank you guys for showing up.
Let's run the polls in the YouTube, bro.
Okay, 1 second.
I don't care what anyone
Because-
on his YouTube channel thinks.
He asked. So Mort asked for 2 separate reputation statements. I was trying to find the second one and just found it.
I don't think they're relevant. I think they would all encompass, like, in my my response anyway.
Well, it was the 2. He asked for the 2 statements
Jiraiya
about
living up to
Jiraiya
his
living up to his reputation. One of them is in the anime profile guide, so I was just scrolling through anime profile guide 3 trying to find it, and I just found it.
I think even if he had like 9,000 statements of like reputation, I think they would all just be encompassing of my argument anyway.
So
Yeah, but one of them's from the author though. But you can think that.
I'm
Can we get
gonna-
out of here. It's over. Debate over.
I can, if you guys want,
Mortified, you gonna give conclusions?
this is the one
No,
that
no,
is.
we don't need to give conclusions.
that
That's
he
for
was-
cornballs. Please don't
This
give a
is-
I'm gonna
conclusion.
give one, but you don't.
Why?
This is the one that he was
No,
referencing.
Debates aren't judged based on conclusions, bro.
But yeah, if you guys,
like, it's
if-
better to, like,
yeah,
help
wait,
people
you
have
you guys are,
What the-
well, hold on, you guys are entitled to your 2.5 minutes. If you don't want to give one, that's totally fine. But I did just post that. I
Can I
post.
leave VC then?
Yeah, if you're not gonna give one, you're more than welcome. We are gonna give like a loose judgment afterwards, but we're gonna like review the rec tomorrow and then like give an official one. I did just drop
Yes, I'm
the.
gonna head out.
Okay, I did just
Thank you all
drop
for on
the.
stream though. Shout out to everybody on stream.
No, I appreciate you, bro.
Mortified.
Dono, give Sage donos. Super
Thank you,
chats,
bro.
drop them.
My guy.
$5. Come on, stop being a brokey. Ask questions. Humiliate me. Pay money to make fun of me. Go for it, guys. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right. Peace out. Y'all have a good one. I don't
All
care
right.
about the judgment. I just want to hear like an explanation if there's a meaningful one, like tomorrow when they go over the rec. So I'll be waiting on Acolyte. I don't really care what other people have to say at the moment. I don't want to give conclusions because I think it's intellectually dishonest to even consider them. Right? It allows you to get rhetorically persuaded by Calamity or me, and I think that's BS.
I mean,
Because
honestly,
conclusions are not
to be
what
to
we
be
judge
totally
debates on.
honest,
It's
this
just
is
for the audience. So
yeah,
I
it's,
don't need to appease the audience.
yeah. I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna say it's more so for the audience, but I mean, you guys, if you want to give one, you can. So it seems like Calamity wants to give one. Seems like you don't want to. So it's up to
I'm
you guys.
All
mortified.
right. Well, you guys.
All right, go ahead, Calamity.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna be able to.
clarify
You're gonna be
my
able to
feeling,
talk.
I think I got V2 above V1.
Well, what's I was just gonna say. Well, now this is not true, but I was gonna say you're gonna get to be talk uninterrupted for 2.5 minutes. So it'll be the first time in the debate. All right, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, for the perception thing, like V2 above V1, I said it spawns on the target, and he was like, "Why is it instantaneous? It could just spawn where he's looking after." And then I said, "Well, then it wouldn't be looking at the point of where he's perceiving." And he was like, "Why does it have to?" But that's already justified by the statement in itself. He's just kind of circling back on himself. So yeah, I justified that like Amaterasu spawns via perception. And then he blitzed that when he couldn't, whenever he was perceptible in V1, so he's blitzed level above V1. And then we talked about activation. There's normally indications, sound signs, zoom ins, whatever. I gave two big major fights to justify this, and then he said it could be 2 out of 100. And then I think I already explained why he presupposed that these other things would have these indications when I already proposed the preponderance of evidence. Why this is not the case with 2 fights, and the burden he put on me is like ridiculous. And then we went to, and he agreed it was travel speed. V1 scales him in travel speed, and then V2 is faster. I already explained why V2 is faster. He blitzed him in the last panel. He accepted that, and then he contended the V1. At least he didn't respond to it. He accepted the V1 stuff. And then we talked about the travel speed, combat speed thing. And then we talked about Suigetsu. Suigetsu reacted to him, but Jugo apparently didn't. I said that Jugo was sitting smirking and smiling and laughing. He could have let himself be hit to bring him in this more tactical thing. He's like, well, this plot could have been made after. I was like, even then, it doesn't matter because his plot was still in place to let himself be hit. I said, Suigetsu scales to Jugo. Suigetsu's able to react to him, so it would make no sense. That would lend credence into this. I brought in this preponderance of evidence for why combat speed and travel speed are normally stated or like shown to be equal, where 2 people with relative travel speed also have relative combat speed. I brought up loads of examples. And then yeah, for the for him scaling to Sage mode. I don't know what he was talking about. But, like the Raikage wasn't there in the Pain arc. That's not like relevant at all. What I'm saying is that Tsunade saw him fight all 6 paths of Pain. She then saw him blitz a path of Pain, and she's surprised that Naruto can even keep up with V1 Raikage. So this would place KCM1 above that Sage mode. His response just was kind of like non-relevant. And then we talked about murderous intent, and I was like, why does murderous intent nerf your speed or whatever? It doesn't need to nerf your speed or durability, so it would just destroy him. I also sneaked in that little AP thing where he scales the BG, or like normally. We already talked about this. You know, the argument is like they're like the peak of the verse. He scales towards the peak of the verse, who would more than likely beat Pain. Yeah, so it's just Naruto above Pain, above all these people, and then for the win con thing, I just explained why in a vacuum that would be the case, but by actual scaling, anything he would do, the Raikage could just nullify it. You could never prove it actually affects the Raikage. The Raikage would just one-shot them. He would just blitz all of them. It wouldn't matter. For the reputation thing, he said there's expected evidence towards this thing, and I said, well, this thing doesn't have expected evidence, and he already agreed it's not a necessity that they have to have these things. And then he argued for some sort of possibility, and then I said, so what you're showing me is that whenever reputations are stated, there's normally empirics after to justify it, and there's no empirics after to justify it. So I don't think that there's no actual like validity towards this thing, and you already agreed it's not necessary. So this could just be the outlier. You didn't respond to it. For the Hokage stuff, I questioned him scaling to Pain, the distance, and I'm agnostic if he can do this in close quarter combat. Obito could be taunting him, the threshold. They could be very, very low Kage. The same way Kakashi is that what's his name? Same way Kakashi is that to Orochimaru. They can scale to the Biju in different ways, like run them out of chakra, or they could drain their chakra, or all these other things. But yeah, he didn't also respond to Raikage has stats over Tsunade, who they stated is all relative to like Jiraiya and stuff like that. And then I disagreed with Jiraiya even scaling to Pain in the first place, stated he could kill him. He beat 2 of the paths of Pain he took on 1v6. He said, well, he wouldn't be able to sneak him or anything. I think that's just irrelevant because he still was able to pull off these feats. So, yeah, I just think that would be I don't know if that ran over time or anything, but...
Yeah, you went about 2 minutes over time, but we're not in a rush, so it's okay.
Why do you stop me?
It's okay.
Who am I debating, Nani or Marcus?
So Marcus didn't really get back to me on it, and then...
Oh, wait. I also need to clarify for the last thing, because I forgot about this. He asked the question, like, why can't this thing... It's like, he talked about this author statement or whatever, and then he asked the question, and then after I responded, he said it was rhetorical, but I said the author could be doing this, like, drum up debate or discussion or keep the hype for the series alive. But apparently it was rhetorical, so...
Okay, so... that was Yusuke talking, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah, that was Yusuke.
Okay, so since SB dropped out, I offered Marcus. Let me take a look. I offered Marcus to hop in, and Marcus was like, maybe. And then and then he hasn't gotten back to me. So you guys can do. He said something about like doing a rec would be better for him, so that might be what we do. If you guys can like schedule a time in the next 24 hours or so to get a rec done, that would be great. If not, you're just gonna move on. But
on the polls in the YouTube, I want to see.
Yeah.
People telling me I'm debating Nani.
I don't know who told you that, bro, but that was never decided.
SB, Westbound.
I mean, that's fine with me. You guys will have to do like a rec though, because since we were running behind already, and I was under the interpretation that you guys were going to do a rec, I just won't have the time to do it tonight. But yeah, you guys can get a rec done. Just make sure you guys have one of the assigned judges present. It'll have to be either Hobbs, Mono, Steven, or Acolyte. So just coordinate with them, and then you guys can run whatever debate you want.
I already agreed to debate Marcus, so I mean, I'll just debate him, and then if
Yeah. Well, also Nani was in a debate yesterday. Is he not debating?
Dude, can we get judgment for this? Like what?
Yeah, just 1 second. Is he not debating the Is he not debating Llama on rec? Because he's like still in the tournament right now. We haven't officially given verdict for his side, so I think it should be Marcus.
Yeah, all right, hold on. Let me go on this other.
Okay. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Like we are doing for this round, we're gonna give an official judgment tomorrow. I did run the poll the poll
You
in
won.
the YouTube chat is you at 68%, Mort at 32%. And then we are going to, the judges are going to convene really quickly. This is one that there were so many points that we're definitely going to have to go back and listen to the rec, because I feel like there were some things that slid through that were unaddressed. But I just want to make sure. So, well,
I definitely didn't slip anything through at all.
well, you're like if I'm remembering correctly, the AP thing was like very smoothly thrown in there. So I just want to make sure that I'm correct on that.
Dude, that was so funny.
That's one of the things I was gonna have a question about, because at that particular point, the discussion was like, oh, there's 2 seconds left for Calamity's side or whatever, and Calamity thought that meant like he only had 2 seconds left to speak, and then when that was clarified, like it was reset, and you started like one of the points that was in there anew. I didn't know what we were doing about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I just asked him, "Do you want me to talk about this thing?" And he was like, "Yeah." So he didn't ask me about the AP thing. So apparently, points that are not addressed don't need justified. So he didn't ask me to address it. So
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna server deafen everybody for a second, and myself and Mono are gonna convene, and then we'll give you guys which direction we're leaning, and then tomorrow we'll have an official verdict once we rewatch it. So, Mono, if you want to take the right
who's the
side,
judges?
me and Mono. Well, it can be me, Mono, and Acolyte because we're gonna have three of us.
Oh wait,
Yes.
I
What's
moved.
up, Nani?
OC, can you move down to VC?
Okay, cool.
He's not even here, bro. Just deafen me.
Let there be silence.
Okay, Calamity.
But I'm fine with whatever y'all figure out, Nani. Just ping me and let me know.
Be gone,
Okay.
honey.
Okay. Just gotta server deafen everybody really quick. I have westbound. I'm gonna mute code or deafen him.
I'm banning code. Hold on.
Okay, cool. So everybody looks to be server deafened. So I'm gonna mute up on the stream. Give us like 1 or 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. We are unmuting and undeafening everybody. Here, I'll unmute and undeafen Calamity and Kiyoshi.
Huh?
I'm just unmuting you guys, undeafening and stuff. Westbound. Okay, it looks like everybody's good, except for Yusuke. I got him too. Oh, there we go. Cool. Okay, so we were talking, we agreed that we were like, all right, this is gonna be something where we really have to go through the minutia of stuff, because especially on Mort's assertive, it was like there were basically like back and forth sections where it was like literally like 10 points that you guys were arguing, and you guys were tracking it all really well. I actually messaged the judge chat and I was like, dude, it's like these guys are actually like in flow state right now, the way they're tracking all these arguments. So this is 100, take this with a grain of salt, because our opinions can 100% be changed with the slightest thing whenever we go back and listen to it. But Mono, I'll go ahead and let you give your, like, where you're leaning right now, and then I'll give where I'm leaning right now.
So, yeah, withstanding primarily going through Mort's assertive, because there's a couple things where if it wasn't handled the right way, then he doesn't have, like, appropriate scaling. But if he gets his scaling through, I think he did a good enough job taking out the, like, Raikage assertive to make things happen. Doing a quick skim of like 1,000,000 points. Let me see. Is going over like the mechanics of Amaterasu and whether or not it appears instantly after you try to, or when you're trying to use it, or if there's some sort of spawn time that can be taken advantage of and avoided. There was and that was with regards to a blitzing Sasuke. Where else? There was going back and forth between like expected evidence for activation and whatnot that I'll have to go back over with regards to that. There was the travel speed versus combat speed conversation, and yeah, I think Sans Raikage scaling and Mortified without at least the like direct scaling of Pain 2A would at least come out with the Soul Rip win con. So if both were standing with no stats, one had like a viable win method and the other wouldn't. But again, that depends on several very small but important details.
Yeah. So also, like I said, take all of this with a grain of salt.
Is that a judge? Wait, is that a judgment? What did he even say?
No.
Mortified. What?
So it's not. So none of this is an official judgment. Just let me restate that.
Yeah, because we have to, because of the nature, especially Mort's assertion, where you guys decided to pull a DBZ freaking like hand-to-hand clash and just fire
not
a
immediate
billion
judgment?
at a time. No,
It's not immediate
just,
judgment.
So
No.
right now we're just giving initial thoughts, but we'll have to fine-tooth comb a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Wait, so literally just face value right now. Just say you were leaning towards like what? You're saying if Mortified wanted scaling, then he wanted scaling. Like okay.
No. Okay,
Why is there a guy called
But
Mr. Penis?
so
in this
leaning
one?
towards more because at first listen, it seems like he did a good job of preventing your scaling, but I'm not 100% on certain things on his scaling.
Yeah.
To TLDR.
What is this?
But that's why you gotta fine-tooth comb it, because of the fact that all of you, like both of you, were kind of spurting out a lot.
Yeah, so the one of the challenges with running this stream and judging it as well, which is one of the reasons why I shifted to, especially for these rounds, because I think these are more important, to having a secondary like watch through for sure before we come to a conclusion, is because while I'm grabbing scans, if you guys are arguing stuff, sometimes that gets lost in the weeds. So again, take all of this with a grain of salt. But as far as the first listen with everything that I caught, I don't think many connected assertions actually went through. Like, I don't think that the AP thing was actually connected to Pain. I do remember you making that point, but I don't remember it being connected back to Pain. I could be wrong on that, and if I am, then you're going to have a point that actually does provide an advantage, which will give you an edge here. With Mort, I'm not entirely certain that any of his scaling actually went through. I think you did a really good job of combating that. Whenever I was first listening through, like while it was happening, I thought that some of the points were clearing, and then you would come back with a good rebuttal to them. It's really just whenever you guys got into the like heavy back and forth of multiple points all at once, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go back and fine tooth comb this stuff. So I'm uncertain about if he got any scaling through that would actually positively impact the battle on his side, but he did get a win con through with the soul rip. So right now, like, to me, I'm kind of split, but I do think if I'm correct and you didn't connect the AP to Pain, then he should have the edge here. But if you did, or if like the speed scaling stuff went through and I just missed it, then obviously you would win. But that's just where I'm leaning right now. It's like so tentative. It's like not even 51-49. I feel like it was really close on both sides. Yeah.
Like, why are you like acting up for the VC? Like, you already know how this connected to Pain because we talked about it before the debate. Like, you know exactly how that talks.
Right, but you didn't say the end thing that you were saying prior. So whenever we were talking ahead of time,
we more than 51. I clarified it in my conclusion as well.
Okay. So I didn't hear that in the initial one. So I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. But that's why I was saying that, because I remember you bringing up the AP point very quickly. But it was like at the end of your time, whenever you were speed running a bunch of stuff. And so I was like, okay, I don't remember you connecting it to Pain, like you, because basically what you were saying prior to us hopping on the stream was if you assert like peak verse for X character, then it just makes it inherently more likely that it's above the other character, because by virtue of just randomly selecting any character in the verse, they're not going to be peak verse, more likely than not, right? I don't remember you bringing up that second part of it. So that's where I was like, I don't think that point went through, but I could be wrong. That's what I'm saying. This is why we're going to do our due diligence and go back and watch it.
Another thing to keep in mind with that too is if what you said revolved around A scaling to Bijou, how much that matters will depend on how the Akatsuki and Kage and Sanin scaling to Bijou interaction went, and what did or didn't go through. Because like because even if you got through that AP lining through the Bijou, if Mort's Bijou thing goes through, then it would effectively be irrelevant. Maybe.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying for Sage's judgment. Like, he thinks that Mortified didn't get his scaling off, so I don't think that would like matter.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, if you did say, like, if you did complete that and you said if you just, you don't have to say it this exact way, but if the point is essentially, Bijou peak verse scaling, most characters not going to be peak verse scaling, so by virtue of that, it's more likely that he's above, then I think that should go through. If you didn't put it together in that way, like to communicate that point that way, then it won't. But like Mono said, we're going to have to go back and listen to all the stuff on his assertion, because like I genuinely don't know who won like half of those points, because there were so many things being fired off at once, and I was simultaneously grabbing scans and all that shit, right? So if, like Mono said, if that does go through and then he still gets his scaling through, then it effectively would be a moot point. I just don't personally remember you connecting it at the end, but I could be wrong, like I said. So we're going to go back and listen to it. This is like, I think this has been, in my opinion, the closest debate so far. So it was a really good debate, and I appreciate you guys coming on and putting on a show for everybody. But I'm excited to dig into the rec tomorrow and kind of go through it, make some notes, and then come back with an official verdict on Monday for you, or on Monday night, tomorrow night for you guys. But dude, I mean, hell of a job though. There were a few different times in there. Yeah, go ahead.
Monoichi, do you actually think do you think the win con point is like relevant at all?
Excuse me. If the Raikage speed stuff. So basically, how the format seems to be is like if there's no like scaling on any side, but someone established some sort of advantage that they could have, or like a win con or something. If there's something on the table, then they win. It's like if you get the Raikage to faster, then no, because if Mort has no speed, then like you said, it wouldn't matter. But
Right. Yeah, it's like there was a
the whole
debate.
thing-
There was a debate earlier in the tournament where somebody like got a win con on the table, but the other debater basically like added likelihood as to why it literally wouldn't matter for the debate, like based on different circumstances and how they'd fight and stuff like that. So like if that's another example of like even if a win con goes through, if you successfully combat the idea that it would ever be relevant, then it wouldn't matter. But like so if we go back and listen to it and literally nothing goes through and the only thing that goes through is the win con, then he would win. But I don't think that's the case. I think there was some stuff that went through. I just think that there were so many things that were being talked about, and I was juggling running the stream, grabbing scans, and listening at the same time that I probably missed something.
yeah,
So that's
even
yeah, it's kind of
like like
even if
Stage
you
had
take-
said, there's a lot of points during Mort's assertive where he started off strong, and then towards like the end of nearly you guys were gonna move off, you'd be like, well, there's this other thing, and then just kind of throw it all into a fucking tizzy
yeah.
for him. So
Wait, for that thing, I don't even think that I don't think he even got through that he like the win con would even work. Like in general, because like I put in
so in your conclusion,
not even like
I
via
remember you
scaling or anything,
mentioning
just, like,
something
by-
about him like just out flexing it or some shit.
No,
But
that's not what I
during
said. Like,
the-
that's not what I'm talking about. Even if you strip away all of these like scaling things, you need to justify a load of things for pain. Like, he never justified the gravity, like anything to do with like the gravity being strong enough to pull anyone, being strong enough to
Yes,
pull out
he
the
did.
soul.
So he
Yeah,
did
I think
bring
he
that
did.
up.
Yeah.
I don't think
That
he
part
did.
I
He didn't
remember
respond to it.
clearly.
He just said, "I'm not talking." He
I-
said he's not talking
Hold
about
on.
like scaling or
So
anything.
he-
It's not relevant.
I specifically have the note written that he didn't originally, like towards Super in the beginning, but towards the end when you guys started firing shotgun shells at each other, he did mention a way to scale the gravity thing. I'm not sure he connected it back to A though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but
I'm
he
saying
did.
like
He did
there's no like
mention a
relevancy.
thing.
Like he didn't scale. He didn't say that like he'll be strong enough to pull the soul. He will be able to
Was
pull
that-
him. He would be able to like pull the soul. He's even able to like grab Raikage or anything like that.
Well, the soul thing, I think was less touched on, like whether or not it could,
Yeah.
or it like has any type of resistance to it. The gravity
I don't
thing,
think
I
I need
do
to,
remember
so.
you kind of going into several times.
Yeah, the thing that I remember you guys going back and forth on in terms of the win cons was because he basically said he could Bancho Tenin him into a soul pull, and if he pulls his soul, he dies. I remember you guys going back and forth on the Bancho Tenin part of it, but not the soul steal part of
Yeah.
it. So that's where I was
Yeah.
like, I think a win con was established. It wasn't something that was like connected in terms of like, oh, he scales to a level to where he can do this. It was presented as a win con, and I don't remember that being addressed on your side. But again, we're gonna have to go back and listen to it, so we'll find it if it's there. But yeah, this is I would like my initial interpretation. I would honestly kind of just say incon because there's not. Like I don't know which points cleared, but that's not a fair way to judge, obviously. So, and then also we're not doing incons in this debate tournament if we can help it. So yeah, we'll convene. We'll go ahead and watch that. I'm gonna listen to it in the morning, take some notes. We'll give an official verdict tomorrow night. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being cordial. I know we all know how Mort can be, so I appreciate you for handling that like a champ and not crashing out in response. I know the people in chat appreciated that as well. They were like, this Mort guy is a spurg. He's going crazy. So yeah, that was very much appreciated. But we're going to go over that tomorrow, get you an official verdict. But for now, I think it's about time to wrap up the stream. Been on stream for 2 hours and 49 minutes. So I'm going to hop off of here. But yeah, appreciate you once again. You guys have a wonderful night. Yep. What's up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, have a good night,
Wait,
guys.
let me ask. Wait, Sage. Let me
Yeah.
ask this thing. So, do
What's
you
up, bro?
agree to the Sage? Wait, Sage. Do you agree to the thing like,
you shouldn't let debaters like me or Mortified in while you guys are listening to the recording.
Say that one more time.
Do you know the thing I DM'd you earlier?
Oh,
forget,
yeah, yeah.
Did you like agree to that? You're like,
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
We listen to it on our own. Like we don't listen to it together. So,
I mean,
but
I'm
like,
not gonna name any names, but a certain Indian person in this VC was present in VC and was able to give like clarifications and like argue his point more while you were listening to the recording, and that may have swayed opinions for a certain Indian debater in here.
that did not happen.
So I'll
Not for me anyway.
Even if like
Because I mean, Calamity, I have not.
You said,
Well, I haven't listened to a single one of these debates in VC with anybody, not one time. So I don't know who they would be referring to, but
Also,
it definitely wasn't me.
The originally a
also, it doesn't really matter what you clarify, like post debate, if it wasn't said in the debate in a way that like it wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah.
Like saying, "Oh, well, I meant this by this," that isn't gonna matter.
Yeah, that wouldn't affect anything. But yeah, I mean, I promise you, on Everybody I Love's live, like I have not listened to any of the recs in VC with anyone. I listen to them whenever I'm working out, and I take notes on my phone as I listen. So that's not something that I'm doing. But yeah, we'll keep those separate. I'll just let the judges know, like, not to have anybody listen to it with them. We judges might listen to it together. We haven't done that so far, but if anybody listens to it with anybody, it's going to be just us. So no need to worry about that. But yeah, I am going to go ahead and end this stream. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming on once again. Thank you for a good debate. And I look forward to writing up a full thing tomorrow. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in to the live stream. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to it. We've got all of the debates that were on stream still up. They're going to be up indefinitely. And if you haven't joined the server yet, the server link should be a million messages up in the